Welcome to Queens, New York, home of the biggest major in tennis. New York-style tennis. Which side are you on?
The U.S. Open Championships, August 31st to September 13th. Only.
I'm Carrie Lake with a look at your Fox 10 Facebook news update. An Avondale mother accused of drowning her twin 2-year-old boys in the bathtub is now behind bars. 22-year-old Mireya Alejandra Lopez was booked into the 4th Avenue jail late last night after admitting to police that she drowned the young kids. Police say she also admitted to trying to drown a third child, but a family member stopped her. Lopez now facing 2 counts of murder and another count of attempted murder. The group hoping to recall Arizona Superintendent of Public Schools Diane Douglas plans to file paperwork on Tuesday. The group will need to collect 360,000 signatures in 120 days from Arizona voters to set that recall into motion. School is out for some kids in Buckeye on Monday. Power poles were knocked down there over the weekend after a big storm. Bales Elementary School is impacted by this. The storm knocked down power lines, so kids can't walk to school, and the buses cannot access the road to school. The East Valley also got hammered over the weekend by the monsoon. This is Mesa High School near Southern and Gilbert. There was some damage to part of the athletic field there, and you can see some of the debris, some of the structures damaged as well. The storm leaving a racquetball court a mess. And speaking of weather, here's a look at the 10-day forecast. Temperatures ranging from 101 to 105 over the next 10 days. And GasBuddy.com shows prices down 11 cents in the valley this past week. The average price for a gallon of gas, $2.53, although prices are a little higher than the national average of $2.47. Phoenix prices are still down 85 cents from this time last year. Be sure to join us on social media using the hashtag Fox10Phoenix. We love to get your news and weather photos and videos. I'm Carrie Lake. Have a great day.
Hello, I'm Troy Hayden with your Facebook update. Thousands still without power after last night's massive storm. That storm brought torrential rains, high winds, and widespread damage. Winds hit 61 miles an hour at one point, toppling trees and ripping off rooftops, also snapping power lines across the valley. Now to a different type of storm. Wall Street tumbles nearly 500 points today in trading. All of last week's gains wiped out. Some analysts predict a bad month ahead for investors. The Arizona man accused of helping a college student join ISIS won't be getting out of jail anytime soon. This morning, a federal judge denied bond, calling Ahmed Gamal a flight risk. The DEA showing off items seized during Operation Cyber Juice. The feds raided a juice bar inside an LA Fitness at 22nd Avenue and Northern. Agents claim the owner was selling steroids to clients there. The effort to recall Arizona School Superintendent Diane Douglas is now underway. The group believes Douglas is more concerned with gaining power on the board than working to improve schools. The group has 4 months to collect 367,000 signatures to bring that recall issue to a vote. Check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/Fox10Phoenix.
Troy Hayden definitely has his own style when it comes to the Fox 10 Facebook update. I think I like the way Gary does it better. I'm just kidding. He's walking past me. That's why I said that. He's coming back. He's going to spend some time with us here on Fox 10 News now after his lunch break. But hi, welcome. I'm Kinsey Schofield. Those were our Fox 10 Facebook updates, just brief updates on how the day's gone. One was from yesterday that I never got to because yesterday was chaos, as you know. And then it got even crazier at night when the monsoon hit. I look like I have 4 mouths. Oh, because of my shirt. I was like, what are you... The chat room, you guys are distracting me. But that was our Fox 10 Facebook update, one from yesterday and one from today. So you can get kind of a recap of what's going on in the valley. A lot of crazy stuff yesterday. And I feel like today it's storm coverage. Just a recap of how horrific last night's storm was. I was stuck at an AMC theater. It was raining through the roof, and all of the projectors automatically shut off. We had to pay cash to try to get bottles of water because the AC was off. Typically, this sounds like a horrible experience and you want to exit the venue. However, I wasn't able to exit the venue because the storm was so bad it looked like a hurricane. It was scary. It was scary. But yesterday was a lot of intense news too. The shootings up and down the I-10, that's horrific. And I do have an update in regards to this 23,000 without power. I think the number is now approximately 12,000 without power throughout the valley after the Monday night monsoon. Hi, Ale. Hello, Gio, Frankie, all my peeps, all my regulars. Please know that Troy Hayden will be joining us after his lunch break. Jude LaCava is going to come spend a few minutes with us. I don't know when Jude's coming. That tower cam looks awfully beautiful. I wish I knew where to pull it from. But yes, today has been mostly weather and then covering that devastating situation out of Chicago. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to pull some video from Chicago, but also know that I have some storm updates for you. Getting this video ready.
Or the suspects going on right now in the Fox Lake area. Again, you see live images now from Fox Lake where we expect, among others, the Fox Lake Mayor, Donnie Schmidt, to brief the media on the latest on the manhunt and the investigation. We also expect to hear from Detective Chris Carvelli from the Fox Lake Police Department. We have multiple crews on the scene in Fox Lake. Larry Yellen has been there since this morning covering these developments. Again, we are awaiting a media briefing on the latest from Fox Lake, where police officer Joe Galinowitz was shot dead this morning as he pursued 3 suspects on foot. He dispatched around 8 o'clock, made a radio call. All right, let's go to that media briefing and get the latest.
Hi, my name's Chris Cavalli. I'm with the Lake County Sheriff's Office. Before we get started, I just want to mention at the end, we won't be taking any questions, but we're here to give a statement. I'm joined here by Mayor Schmidt of the Village of Fox Lake, Sheriff Mark Curran, Lake County Sheriff's Office, and Under Sheriff Ray Rose. So this morning at approximately 7:52, preliminary investigation indicates Fox Lake Police Lieutenant Joseph Glenowitz had encountered 3 suspicious subjects. He advised his radio communication that he was out with 3 suspicious subjects, 2 male whites and 1 male black. Shortly thereafter, Lieutenant Glenowitz informed communications he was in a foot pursuit. His communications then lost contact with him. When our first responding backup units arrived at the scene, they located Lieutenant Glenowitz injured with a gunshot wound. A massive search is now underway, and this is a 3-pronged investigation. We have the aggressive search to apprehend the offenders that are at large, and again, they're being described as 2 male whites and 1 male black. We have the evidence processing at the scene, and we have the investigation into exactly what occurred here today. We are using many resources. We're using numerous air units to search from above and look below. We're using numerous canine units that are trying to sniff out and grab a hold of a scent of the offenders. And we have numerous police officers across northern Illinois as well, and we're joined by state agencies and federal agencies as well. We're asking residents in the Fox Lake area to please be on the alert if they see anything suspicious, to dial 911 immediately. Anything out of the ordinary, anything they're not used to seeing in their subdivisions. No tip is too small, and we're asking for the community's help on locating anything suspicious. At this time, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Mayor Schmidt of the Village of Fox Lake.
Tonight, not only did Fox Lake lose a family member, I lost a very dear friend. Lieutenant Joe Glenowitz was a 30-year veteran, a decorated police officer, a family man, and a dear friend to the entire village of Fox Lake. The response today by law enforcement from local, state, and federal agencies has been remarkable. We would like to thank each agency and each officer who is out there right now assisting our efforts. Understandably, our officers are having a very difficult day today. We lost a family member. They're dealing with the loss of their colleague, partner, while also identifying efforts to find the person responsible for this senseless tragedy. Our community is having a very difficult time. And the coming days will be even more difficult as we remember him as a police officer, a father, and a member of our community. G.I. Joe was a father of 4 boys, a decorated police officer and our asset to our community. Many residents in here knew him as G.I. Joe, and we remember him as someone deeply committed to Fox Lake, to the profession, and his fellow officers. Going forward, our focus is in 3 areas. The first is to mourn the death of Lieutenant Joe Glenowitz. His commitment to the people of this community has been unmatched and will be dearly missed. The second is to ensure the people of Fox Lake are safe as this investigation continues. We've been coordinating efforts with the schools, increasing our police presence at all our facilities, and making sure parents are notified about the status of their schools. The minute we learned about this incident, we immediately put our schools on soft lockdown and advised parents that they should pick up their children from school. We made a decision to dismiss students at 4 o'clock instead of 3, and are asking parents to pick up their children from the school. Finally, we continue to support the hardworking men and women out there today in this heat, doing everything that they can to find the individuals responsible for this very tragic incident. Thank you.
Detective.
And that was the latest press conference we got out of Fox Lake. Devastating news that G.I. Joe is what they called him. Sweet man. His mother-in-law said he absolutely loved his job, that he was proud of his job, proud of his children. Last month, I believe, in August, him and his wife celebrated their birthdays together over dinner. So it's pretty devastating to hear about such a horrific incident. Now, are you ready? Hold on, let me see what's coming. Yeah, get up here. Are you going to lunch, or what do you want to do?
I was going to talk to Brian. Can you give me 5 minutes?
Yeah. Only because you're handsome. If you were ugly, though, Jude. Jude's going to step in here in a few minutes and give us the scoop on what's happening locally in sports, what's happening in Jude's life. Jude's always got good stories about Catholic school. Just Jude-isms. We love Jude-isms. But he's going to talk to us in approximately 5 minutes. He says that, but he also said he needed to go get his cell phone, so we'll see him never. I have a feeling this will be interesting. I know I have in the title about weather. Well, I have a ton of stuff on weather. So here's my dilemma. Here's my personal dilemma. I have a ton of stuff on weather. I could start with some weather content, but I don't want to interrupt it to have a sit down with Jude, who's on his way back here. So what else can I show you in the meantime. Oh boy, you're fast.
Oh, Monster Rehab. I love that.
I always have like a million. I have a million Monster Energy beverages a day. I've missed you. It's been too long.
I want to talk Monster beverages.
All right. Okay. Am I gonna die prematurely because of consuming them? Perhaps I will.
That was my first question.
Yeah, I might. But you know what? I have the opinion that when it's my time to go, it's my time to go.
Monster drink or not.
Yeah,
It just
Monster
says
drink
it's
or
gonna,
not.
You know, fate will have it.
But when it comes to like putting my seatbelt on, I don't feel that way. If I think I could die if I don't put my seatbelt on, then I do buckle up my seatbelt.
Use your seatbelt. Okay, no, that's good. I mean, so you're cautious, you're somewhat conservative, but when it comes for a little boost, you know, you're on with Monster.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's great. Now, we've got a lot going on here these days. What have you been up to? I want to see if our fine viewers can rate your shirt. It's I like it. You know, it's got a lot of character. It's.
I know he walked
I
right
want to know
past.
whose lips.
He walked right past me today,
I go,
and then
man, you want to talk about a wild night? I look at the shirt and I go, man. Oh, wait a minute! I had to take a double take on it. I'm like, whoa.
I did have a wild night. I got
Look at
trapped
that.
in the AMC last night during the monsoon storm. I got trapped in an AMC, and none of the movies were working, so it was just an empty theater.
I can't think of a better place though. It's the air conditioned, you know, good
The
sound.
air conditioning wasn't
shelter.
on, and it was raining through the roof. It was the AMC down the street. Little ratchet is how I would describe that, allegedly.
Speaking of AMC, boy, what a great transition! Because if you go to my Twitter account at JudeFox10, you'll see that this past Friday at a movie theater with a former Cardinal, writer, director, producer, Simeon Rice, his premiere.
I saw that movie.
Unsullied.
I saw that last night.
And I have to tell you something. There were a few discrepancies in there, but I will tell you this. I was impressed.
What do you mean discrepancies?
Well, I mean, I wanted to know why the hunter just coincidentally dumped the gasoline in the Chevy Malibu. That was.
Oh wait, I thought he was siphoning it.
He was pouring it in. Okay, so that was kind of like funky to me. But no, listen, the big picture was really good. I thought the lead. I mean, she was like a.
She was good.
She was really good, and I thought it wasn't your typical redneck. It was a couple of very wealthy stockbrokers, hedge funds guys that became these monsters.
This is so funny to me because last night I paid for tickets to another movie. They would not. All of the projectors went out when the storm was so bad. So I snuck into one that started, and it was this movie, Unsullied. Is that what the title is?
Unsullied, yes.
And
by Simeon Rice.
Yes.
Former Cardinal.
And I thought it was interesting.
What would be your review? I mean, I want to get your.
Well, my review was that my date was absolutely precious and handsome.
So the date supersedes everything. We know that.
And he has a Cardinals connection, so that was interesting.
Okay, now here is, and I'll show your fine viewers here. This was Friday night, and there you can see the title Unsullied, and there's the writer, director, producer.
Rated R though. I didn't really understand why was there
Simeon
an R
Rice,
rating?
who was drafted by the Arizona Cardinals.
Why was there an R rating? I didn't see anything salacious.
There were some vicious, violent scenes.
Like when they,
know,
spoiler alert, killed that lady?
Yeah, that, and also when they first captured Murray Gray, and there was that very violent scene with the other woman. I think that was, it certainly wasn't graphic, but it implied very strongly what was going on. I thought that Simeon was a really interesting guy to cover when he first arrived with the Cardinals, and very outspoken, charismatic. He called himself the Miracle.
Aww.
The Miracle, like he was the miracle. He also called himself, at that time the team was really not very good, and he called himself the deodorant to a bad team.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But when you have an attitude like that, because that reminds me of, how am I spacing on his name? That reminds me of the Cowboy. You know who I'm talking about? The Dallas Cowboy that just all of a sudden had to become...
Des Bryant?
No, that became a reality junkie because the Cowboys canned him. Cute cowboy, was a model. No. How am I?
You'll
How
have to
am I?
check that out.
Not.
Cute cowboy model.
He had a reality
that's
show.
out of my-
Terrell Owens.
Oh, T.O. Okay, yes. Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
that
yeah.
Is it when you have an attitude like that? Are you almost setting yourself up for?
For a reality show? Yeah.
Well, not a reality
No,
show.
when you
but
can't play football anymore, you got to do something, right? And try to make some
when
money,
you
and
have
that's what
that
T.O. did.
over the top personality, and you are so impressed with yourself, are you setting yourself up for disappointment? Are you setting yourself up to disappoint?
Or are you setting yourself up for a reality show? Because if you're the more outrageous, the more ridiculous, the more visible, the better chance of doing something after football. Now, what I like about Simeon is that he went to the New York Film Academy Institute in Los Angeles.
Oh, so he took it seriously.
He took it very seriously. And this is, I mean, he picked out the music for this movie.
Yeah.
He had his hand in casting. He gave Murray Gray, who's the lead in this movie, a chance right out of theater school at UCLA. He had a very good review in the Los Angeles Times. This is his first movie, and I thought it was impressive. I really enjoyed it. It was one long chase, but it was dramatic, and it was kind of like she became like the African American Rambo. She was like
she was super.
She was
and
super.
She was a
She's
beautiful
superhero and
girl.
beautiful, and did a really good job. And Murray Gray is her
I
name.
wonder where he found her.
Here's how we did a little Q&A after the premiere Friday,
Uh-huh.
and he wanted me
Do you have
to
it?
help it. I don't think anybody taped it, but the question was posed.
You should have done it on Twitter. You should have done
I
a
wanted
Twitter
to Periscope
view. You
it,
should have
but
done
one
a
of
Twitter
my
view.
students that I should say a young man who was an acting student was going to shoot it for me while I was doing the session, and we never did. But he said this: she came on, and she was okay. Then she auditioned again. They brought her back about the third or fourth time, and I think it was Django Unchained. There was a woman from that movie that was really strong, had better credentials, but she just kept pushing and pushing and won the part.
Wow. So she just improved.
She improved with every audition, and she got the job, and she really did a nice job. I mean,
It was a good movie. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
A little different
Much different.
storyline,
Mm-hmm.
which was kind of cool.
Yeah, I was glad.
Now, I'm not a New Yorker. I'm a somebody, Hapalia, Eastern Pennsylvania, Clevelander. Jude, has Philip Sims been cut? No. There's always questions we try. What I love about the eclectic nature of your audience. I have a question for you, Jude. What does he think about MLB Commissioner Nixon, Shoeless Joe Jackson's Hall of Fame bid? I think it's unfortunate because, by the way, Shoeless Joe is in the Ohio Baseball Hall of Fame. A lot of people don't know that, but he was involved, and you will know this from the pop culture movie, The Black Sox, 8 Men Out. He really, there's plenty of evidence that suggests he was never on the take back in 1919, and he hit really well in the World Series. The World Series was fixed, and one thing leads to another. It's that kind of 6 degrees of separation, right? What happened in 1919 is pertinent in 2015 because Pete Rose is still not in the Hall of Fame, and that's when Kennesaw Mountain Landis, the commissioner of baseball, came down hard and said, anybody that bets on baseball, lifetime ban, Pete Rose. But it was Shoeless Joe's case should be reviewed because there's enough evidence to suggest he was not involved in the scheme to throw the World Series.
Wow, that's interesting. That's a lot of history there. That's like an entire Wikipedia page.
Just like that. Wikipedia, bring it on.
You look
Please
really
do that,
nice
Dave.
today with your shirt and tie combination.
Tried to look more professional
Did
after
your wife
the bad
pick this
t-shirts.
up?
Yeah, she did. She dresses me.
You look very
That's her
handsome
full-time
today. You
job.
should tell
Thank
her.
You. I don't know about the handsome part, but presentable.
You do definitely look presentable. What's going on with the Cardinals?
Well, we've got a question here from, what is it, Aoben?
Yeah,
Dude, your
that's
thoughts
Ale.
on Philip Sims? Does he have a bright future ahead of him? I think he's going to make this team as, at the very least, a developmental squad quarterback, and I think he does have a future in the NFL as a very good backup someday. I think Sims is a little bit ahead of Logan Thomas. So we'll entertain. So we went Hollywood, we went Kissed My Lips shirt, and we went, sports questions. That's what makes it on News Now here.
Yeah, that's News Now.
Yeah.
That's our rundown. What is it true that these pre-games don't really matter?
They matter in the context of young guys trying to make the team. They matter with, I think, the final 10 spots on a roster. They matter in terms of getting guys. You know, it's such a violent game. You just can't like work out, train a little bit, and then go play a regular season game. You do have to condition yourself. I think they could reduce it to 2 preseason games. And since we're talking
But if we
football,
did that, wouldn't we be at 2 losses and wouldn't we feel defeated?
well, everybody knows they don't count. You know, it's kind of like it's a.
But do they not count
Audition.
if you lose, and they count if you win, because you're personally hyped up and the internal energy is excited if you're winning?
Well, that's a good point.
Isn't that naturally the case?
The coaches will always say, well, we always want to win every game we play. And then if they lose, they say, well, we really evaluated players, so we didn't try. You know, I mean, it's kind of a. Now, here's something for you, speaking of football. Now, listen to this. Tom Brady.
Do we have new sketches from the Deflate
I would
game?
like to see those sketches, but I'm going to give you a projection.
Okay.
He's going to play. He's going to play and start the regular season. That's my prediction. I think the federal judge in New York, Judge Berman, will rule in favor of Tom Brady.
Wow.
Now, I don't think it's not over just yet, but for those Patriot fans out there, I think because
Debbie. That's Debbie. That's Debbie Mason.
Debbie. I believe that Tom Brady is going to play in the opener.
Wow.
He's going to win the appeal temporarily.
Are you going to buy me a soda pop if you are wrong?
If I'm wrong, a soda pop and peanut butter crackers. How about that?
Oh, you spoil me.
Yeah.
That's what this friendship is all about. What about the Diamondbacks, as I just popped this out
The
of my face?
D-backs are playing 2 games in one day. It's a rare doubleheader, and that's a lot of baseball. But they won the first one today, and they are losing the second one. So, you know, it's kind of look. They're not going to be a force in the postseason. They had a good year, relatively speaking, but it's football, and ASU will be on national TV Saturday evening, and that's going to be quite a game. This is a really
deal?
big game. This is, you know, in the words of Ron Burgundy,
Uh-oh.
you know, this is kind of a big deal.
When
I'm
you
kind of a
quote
big
Ron
deal.
Burgundy, it's getting
Yeah,
real.
Ron Burgundy. This is, you know, it's a big deal. It is a big deal.
Debbie says Jude is never wrong.
Yeah, 2 games in one day. It's called, you know, a doubleheader, and I think that I would, you know, 18 innings of baseball. You gotta love it, but at least you're hanging out in Denver.
Yeah, that's true.
But here's something interesting. Now let's go the travels around town, and I was gonna send this to you, and I should have earlier. I'm at the DeSoto Market, which is like about a block off.
I thought I tweeted it. Is this what
Yes.
you're talking about?
And I don't know. I thought this was kind of interesting. At first I thought that these women, a group of attractive young women, I thought they were gymnasts, but I stand corrected. They are aerialists. They like to hang from things.
Well, who doesn't?
Well, would you do this then? I mean, maybe you can bring up the tweet, the photo. This was
Honestly, this is what I'm doing usually when I'm not on News Now, here in the office.
This was really interesting because I'm hanging out having a lunch after Cardinals practice, and I'm at DeSoto Market, which is right downtown. It's a really cool place. It's
How
a
was
really
Cardinals practice?
It was pretty cool. I mean, we had a chance to talk to your guy, the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, not the other guy who will remain nameless. You'll try to keep your private life private.
Oh,
but
I don't
take
care.
a look at this here. And I'm just hanging out, and I said, hey, look at, and these women are hanging from.
This is just a typical Tuesday for you, Jude.
Yes, this is just another day, you know, downtown. And I thought that was pretty cool.
That is cool.
They're going to do this as a charity event for, they call it the Freak Show, for Phoenix Children's Hospital.
Oh, yeah.
Where they do a lot of interesting bits. And they were practicing at the DeSoto Market.
Is that where the event? Is that the venue?
The venue will be, I think, at the hospital, but this was their practice session. Unless it's there, I don't know. But it's a cool market, by the way. Not that I'm trying to give them a plug, but I thought it was a really cool place to hang out. And you're hanging out there, and all of a sudden, 3 women are like hanging from the ceiling. Where can you get that? Well, I'm not going to mention.
Let's not go there.
Down that road here.
I don't feel like getting in trouble again.
Yes, please.
Typical
But anyhow,
public
I thought that was I thought that should be.
That's
who
a great
runs our
photo
photo
op.
of the day here at our fine institution?
Well,
Fox
no
10.
one gets.
Why isn't it on tag board? Is it?
Yeah, no one gets as good as photos as you do.
I don't know about that.
So now I don't.
According to our digital marketing guy, will remain nameless. But
tell me, I need. You can't leave me ever without some Judaism. Tell me, I need a story. I need to know like what's. The most embarrassing thing you got in trouble for as a kid. What was a show you weren't allowed to watch but you watched, or what was music you weren't allowed to listen to that you listened to?
Did you see my hail
video?
video?
Oh, you were featured on our 6 p.m. news.
No, I thought that we had the hail with the hail.
Yeah, Jude was
in the midst of this,
taking video.
I'm out yesterday trying to
Monsoon coverage.
Have some evening dinner, and I'm right in the middle of Dave's forecast, which is.
Yeah, you were. They were like, our own Jude LaCava got this video last night in the middle of the storm.
And people were, all the hearts coming up. So when I showed this to my wife, she said, "Are these all your girlfriends with these hearts?" I said, "No, that means that people like what you're doing on Periscope. Isn't that correct?"
Yes, but you should have been like, "These are also all of my girlfriends."
I did say that as well. You got to keep your wife honest in a good marriage, but that's another story. No, I think that.
Is this the worst storm you've seen since you've lived in
downtown?
Phoenix? Yeah.
That hit downtown, right in the down. Normally major weather occurrences don't happen right in the heart of a metropolitan area, but it did last night, and it was crazy, crazy out there.
It was. I was hiding in an AMC. That's how.
I think this is a very safe place. If you're ever going to be in the middle of a storm, AMC, not a bad place.
Yeah, in that movie, that Cardinals movie.
Not bad. No. By the way, what was your take on the movie? Review.
I watch a lot of Lifetime, and it seemed to be about the same
kind of a Lifetime
quality.
With an edge.
Yeah,
with a little bit of an edge.
It was very
really
Lifetime-y. Yeah, exactly. But in
women
Lifetime's
in
movies, the women ultimately are the champions. So I was sitting there going, yeah, I can see this. Would I have preferred there be a happy ending at the end? Yes.
In some ways, it was a heroic ending, maybe. I don't know. I mean, if you look at
I know, but I love kissing at the end,
you're more of a romantic.
I like a good rom-com. Trainwreck was the best ending I've ever seen in my entire life.
I thought that was hilarious.
It was so cute.
I thought Amy
But you
Schumer
know what? It made me really depressed because I used to work with Amy Schumer.
Tell me about the real Amy off air.
She's crazy and awesome.
So she's not, she really is crazy.
She's really
and awesome.
funny and outgoing and charming as she is on TV and in these movies. Yeah.
I thought she was fantastic, and I saw her on Jimmy Fallon. She was hilarious. I thought LeBron was really.
LeBron was great, but I think
Bill, Hader's great too.
Bill Hader is good, and it was a really cute movie, but it was the chemistry lacking a little bit between them because every time they kissed, I was just like, this is not necessary. I don't need to see this.
No, I think that was a really good subtle observation. I thought that was a bit of a push, a reach.
Yeah,
like there
was one time when they kissed 3 times outside of the whole old folks' home.
That was kind of a.
And I was like, we could have just ended at that one, or maybe just a cute peck.
I thought the affection though with the Madison Square Garden cheerleader dance.
Oh, that was my favorite part.
That was a moment.
I think that's one of my favorite movie moments ever. Because every girl has been that girl at a game with a guy that is so resentful of those girls that come out because they've got beautiful bodies. They're just gorgeous. Their hair.
They're very good dancers.
They're great dancers. Every girl has sat there with a guy and been resentful of those women. And so that was one of my favorite movie moments of all time.
No, that was pretty cool. Very funny.
It was.
Very hilarious.
Do you go to movies by yourself or with your wifey?
That's one of our fine activities together.
Aww.
It's a good way to get away from the. When you go to an AMC, as you found out last night, it's a good way to kind of just check out. Yeah, no, I'm a big movie goer, movie buff.
I love that.
Self-proclaimed movie buff.
I love that. What are you going to see next?
You know what I want to see? I want to see Johnny Depp's movie about Whitey Herzog. That's coming out, I think.
Unreal.
That really looks awesome. And I love Boston. If you ever get a chance to get to Boston, North Side, great Italian restaurants. Excellent gelato, great place to hang. But Johnny Depp, when he's on, and he's not doing The Lone Ranger, which was really a bust of a movie, but I'm curious to see how just his change of his facial features for this movie, and the trailer caught me. So I want to see that. I also want to see Black Mass? There's another movie based in Boston on the now famed church scandal. So I'm curious to see it with a really high-profile cast. So,
I look forward to seeing that too. But what I'm really looking forward to seeing is that movie with Amy Poehler and have you seen the trailer for that?
With
Amy Poehler and Tina Fey, where they play
yes,
sisters.
yes.
It looks out of control
yes.
and hilarious.
To the best, to the funniest.
It really, it's like, it looks like as funny as probably one of the, when the Will Ferrell movies where he just gets the giant cast
Yes.
of crazies together. It's going to be that kind of epic.
Will Ferrell's another fan favorite. Love his stuff, and what he did in Spring Training was absolutely stellar.
Well, I thought it was such a good PR move.
It was tremendous. It was tremendous. In fact, wait a minute, I think I've got...
Here we go. We're getting some Jude history here.
No,
I don't like to leave without getting a piece of Jude's
I
history.
always like to try to, give you some stuff that... This is interesting because it's... this is part of... when you walk down the... And I'd like to give you my collections of things. By the way, this is a beautiful sunset the other night, isn't that? There's always
I'm really glad we could share this with each other,
side.
Jude.
But what I found interesting here, and this is one of my favorite photos, speaking of...
Yes! That's amazing. You have to Throwback Thursday that.
We are going to have to get that out there. But yeah, no, Will was cool, man. That was fun.
Do you want to try to do Bill Clinton for Geo?
Oh, jeez. I can do a really good Todd Graham.
Do it. I don't even know who that is.
Todd Graham,
I don't even know
he
who that
talks
is.
so much as his voice is always hoarse. Let me tell you something right now. You got to be good. You got to be elite. We got to go out there and play football. I don't want to be good. I want to be dominant. About character.
I love it. That's all I need. That kind of sounds like Bill Clinton.
It's kind of Bill Clinton with some Todd Graham.
You and I never really talk politics, but I was thinking the other day that I made the point the other day that this Hillary email scandal, she keeps saying she didn't do anything wrong and she didn't send anything inappropriate or anything that was
and Bernie Sanders continues to climb the ladder. I mean, his momentum is trending upward. Hillary's kind of stuck right now, and Joe Biden's thinking about it.
Well, to me, it's like by saying you didn't do anything wrong, when the FBI is investigating and everyone else around you is saying you did something wrong, it's PTSD of when Bill Clinton was on that, looking in that camera saying, I
believe that I did not have sex with that girl.
Yeah, but is that not crazy that these two people are so just capable of, allegedly?
But I think you've ID'd something that I think that is so pertinent to what's happening today, that the outsiders are really doing well. Don Trump, Ben Carson,
Carly Fiorina,
and I even think Bernie Sanders, who was, if you go back to the '60s, I think he was a part of Students for Democratic Society. It was a very radical
He
group.
wrote fantasy novels too.
Yeah, this guy was really kind of an anti-establishment guy that has now had his career as a senator. But I think the outsiders are getting great traction because people are fed up. They don't believe that politicians can get things done, and then they don't believe in politicians. And I think if there's any psychology behind Trump and Carson and Sanders, it's that reason right now. Like, let's try this.
Right.
Maybe this
let's
will work.
just try something
so we
else.
can get something done, because there's such a frustration.
Well, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, and that's what we've been doing.
There's no doubt, man. There's a frustration in this country that's bubbling over right now.
Yeah, Bernie has record-breaking attendance at some of his events, so that has been exciting to cover here.
Sure.
Well, I am going to let you.
Dude, what pen do you enjoy using at work or while in the studio? You know what I find? I think there's a conspiracy. I'm going to break a story nationally.
Here we go.
And I'm putting all of the
Did Sasquatch take it?
Well, we identified the Sasquatch diner up there in Washington State a few months ago, but I think pen manufacturers are really lagging because so many people text and you don't even have to write cursive anymore. So pens the performance of your pen,
they're not improving.
They're like running out of ink, or they're not effective. Like, I run out of ink more than ever before, and I think it's a conspiracy. I think it's forcing people, like, yeah, we can still sell these pens at the same price, but it doesn't matter if they don't work that well.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to see from your audience how many people are so disappointed when they do have to write something and their pen flakes out on them, because it's happening to me all the time. I go through
they
more
need to
pens.
tweet you this.
You should see all these pens that I have at my desk, and I go throw them away. And this one, I try this pen, that pen. Maybe like 1 out of 10 pens writes. But I think the pen manufacturer's saying, we don't have to put that much ink in anymore.
Yeah.
Everybody's texting.
Right.
Cursive is being outdated.
You did break it. You broke it.
People can't even sign anymore,
You broke the story.
Yeah.
Give me more
Pen
Sasquatch,
conspiracy,
says
yes.
Debbie. A pen conspiracy. And Gio Leo was very happy about your Bill Clinton. So he got what he wanted. Well, thank you for spending time with us. We love you. Enjoy your dinner.
And now we should get more feedback on your shirt from your fine viewers.
Well, they can tweet you because your Twitter handle's at the bottom of the screen.
Kenzie is really expanding the dress code here at Fox 10, and I think that's a good thing.
I'm going to put that on my testimonial page. Kinsey is really expanding the dress code here at Fox 10. What a cute quote. I will be tweeting that any minute now. But let's get into some of that weather I told you about. And keep in mind that Troy Hayden's going to be on his way once he gets back from his lunch break. Troy is... He's doing both shows. Hook's currently out. So he was on the 5 and the 6 with Carrie, and my Pokemon expert just walked past me. Martini. But keep in mind that Troy is coming up here any minute now. You and I are going to go through some of our weather stories from today. Because our weather last night was so crazy. Martini.
I can't get enough of the aftermath of this storm. These huge trees just pulled right up out of the ground by the roots. And this is a eucalyptus tree, and man, it just smells fantastic. This one's about 40 years old, they estimate, but it's been here at the zoo for a long, long time. The zoo opened, by the way, in 1952. Some of the trees we've been showing you this morning actually predate the zoo itself, but this one probably was planted after the zoo opened. Nevertheless, it's gone. However, the cleanup is already underway, and Linda Hardwick is still with us. And man, your crews, they must have gotten right to it, because we've already seen a lot of progress just since we've been here.
We have. We've seen a lot of progress. We've had amazing staff here actually all night. I know we had people right at 8 o'clock when the storm came through. We've had several people stay all night long, and I have seen a lot of progress in the cleanup as we've been here over the last few hours this morning.
So as the week wears on, I know, let's take a stroll over here and watch your crew in action. You've got a big day coming up on Saturday. What's happening that day, and will the zoo be open in time?
Right, exactly. We have our baby orangutan's first birthday, Jiwa. He is a favorite of guests here at the zoo, so we're excited to celebrate that. And we will know more by the end of the day about when the zoo will be open, but absolutely open by Saturday, no question about it. We're hoping to be open tomorrow, and just with the progress I've seen already this morning, there's a good possibility, but we will encourage people to check our Facebook as well as our website to find out how the progress is coming.
Gotcha. Well, this is impressive. Now, what happens to, you've got several trees down. What's going to happen to a tree like this?
So one good thing about this tree will not go to waste. We can actually use this in several different exhibits for animals, as we call it exhibit furniture. It's things that they can maneuver over, use to sit on, lounge, hide underneath. We also, depending on what the tree is, this is a eucalyptus tree, so it is toxic. So we won't be feeding any of it to the animals, but a lot of the branches will be used for different things. As well as we have a partnership with the city of Tempe that we do give a lot of our trimmings to them, and they use it for composting.
Oh, gotcha.
So the trees will not go to waste. Also, when the storm did come through at 8 o'clock last night, we have rangers here 24 hours. First and foremost, we check and make sure all of the animals are safe and accounted for, and that is definitely taken place.
Yeah, you want a head count. It's like Hogan's Heroes.
We definitely want to know that everybody is where they are supposed to be. We have night houses for the animals. The large majority of our animals do spend the night in their night houses. So they were just really hunkered down throughout the storm.
Yeah. That's good to know that they are in a safe, comfortable place when there is a storm. They hunker down. That's so sweet. Let's take a look at some of the most recent coverage.
Going back to our top story now, that huge monsoon storm that just pounded the valley last night.
People all over the valley, or especially in the East Valley, waking up to blown over signs, uprooted trees. Fox 10's Courtney Griffin shows us some of the neighborhoods who were picking up the pieces.
The awning hit the door and I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening?
In about 20 seconds, the rain was going sideways. Never seen wind like that before. Things were blowing over, my trees were bending.
Residents in this Gilbert neighborhood woke up to destruction after last night's storm.
We thought it was kind of interesting at first, but then it drew to concern because of the high rate of wind.
The wind had to be blowing in excess of 65, 70 miles an hour last night. It was pretty scary, actually. I made the whole family go in one of the bedrooms away from all the glass window on that side of the house because it literally felt like stuff was going to blow through the window. It was quite the storm.
It looked like a mini hurricane or a tornado because it was banging. Our furniture was banging on the walls or on the windows.
I have a very heavy grill that was moved all the way from one side of the patio almost to the pool.
But not just the grill moved. When Christine Lieberman went to her front yard, she saw more damage.
I just came around the corner again, heard your truck. I watched everybody down here looking at something, saw the tree here, came around the corner here, and good morning.
Trees on cars, walls collapsed, signs blown over, and trees among trees ripped from the ground.
Lost a lemon tree, and then one of my huge trees moved.
Though a lot of property was damaged, nobody was hurt, and the power remained on throughout the storm. In Gilbert, Courtney Griffin, Fox 10 News.
Well, the storm started around 7 o'clock last night, lasted for about 45 minutes to an hour, and it was intense.
Driving in it, no fun either. I know, Carol, you came back from dinner saying, oh my gosh, I barely made it here. So this is a look from 7th Avenue in McDowell. Just Jude LaCava taking this video here. He said it was really flooded out, the rain coming down in sheets. As a matter of fact, he drove through just the regular road, and so much water splashed up underneath his car that when he pulled into the parking lot, his alarm was going off, and he couldn't stop it. I'd never seen that before. So a good video there,
those
Jude.
parking sensors were just going off nonstop because the rain was hitting the car so hard while driving. There was a serious problem with street flooding all over the valley, especially 19th Avenue and Indian School Road. You can see here one car nearly underwater. Its driver rescued by firefighters. There's plenty of standing water for drivers to navigate through last night, and as you can imagine, a lot of stalled cars in the way because of that. And as always, some of the best images from the storm came from you, our viewers, who posted the pictures and videos on our Facebook page.
There are really good photographers out there. I know I said that earlier. Christy Siefkin has more on that part of the story. What's that?
Everyone's getting better at it.
I know, and good cameras and the whole deal. So what do you have, Christy?
Incredible quality photos, and we also had some great video from the storm last night. A lot of you braving the storm to get out there and capture some incredible images. This first video from Paracon Soriano, I'm going to put it into play for you here, is really just showing us the incredible light show that happened last night, along with all the rain and the gusty winds. One lightning strike after the next, and that's exactly what you're seeing here in this footage. A very gray, ominous sky for you in the background. And here, a different shot that we're looking at from viewer Tiffany Madden. This is a video that she shot for us. And if you look real closely, you can see the rain just pounding the lens of her camera there, the winds blowing the trees around in the background, and also moving her camera around a bit. And then this shot, pretty incredible. This is actually from one of our viewers who's out in Mesa. This is Yenis Wayne's Instagram video of, or actually the next one is his. This is a video out of Mesa where we've got the lightning in the sky in addition to some gusty winds. You watch this time lapse and you can see, just like the image prior to it, just plenty of lightning. This video is the one that's from our friend Yenis. Take a look at this. Absolutely incredible, guys. You've got two rain shafts looking out into the West Valley, those storms about to collide. Does this not look like something out of Independence Day? Or that it's, you know, some sort of CG special effect video? Beautiful. You can see the sun just coming down, and this really goes to show how slowly those storm cells were moving last night. That same part of town just getting dumped on by that same slow-moving band of rain over. So we love your videos. We love your photos. Continue to send those to us. And remember, guys, when you send us your video, be sure to turn your phone sideways, and that's how we get those great landscape shots just like we got here. Troy and Carrie?
That was the Yenis Wayne's video. That illustrated exactly what happened in downtown.
I got to put that on my Facebook page. That is so cool.
Intense.
It's like Mother Nature just dumped a bucket.
It's like
right
the
out.
whole storm was dumped over downtown, basically.
A couple other scenes from last night's storm. This is outside of McDonald's at 7th Avenue in Van Buren. And how can you tell it's a McDonald's? Because the sign is gone. Nothing but an empty space there. They're the golden arches on the side of the building. They remain.
Now, that's the one we go to here at the station if we need a Big Mac.
There you go.
It's right down the street. Meanwhile, 3 people taken to the hospital near 25th Street in Van Buren for carbon monoxide exposure. Phoenix crews, they checked out 7 people total after somebody brought a generator inside this building. It happened after the storm. But it's not clear right now if they had lost power and were using the generator as a backup or why this all happened. Everyone, though, we're happy to report, is expected to be okay. It was a storm unlike anything people have ever seen here in the valley.
Folks, this was a torrent, the likes of which we have not seen in downtown Phoenix. I've never seen it in my 22 years here at Fox 10.
This has got to be, as I said, the most intense monsoon storm I've ever witnessed. I know John feels the same way.
I've been doing this for 39 years and 11 months to this day. At this location, I have never seen it rain like this ever before.
And after a storm like this, people waking up to the damage today. Trees are down all over the place, ripped right out of the ground.
Power crews working through the night and all day trying to restore electricity to thousands of people, and parts of homes ripped to shreds.
See the neighborhood kind of coming apart with all the trees coming down. It was a mess. All I could think of is, wow, who brought this on?
A storm that many people around town are not going to forget anytime soon.
Of that storm, some of the heaviest rain we've ever seen here in the valley, and the wind gusts that accompanied it, they came just short of being hurricane strength.
And when the sun came up this morning, we saw all the damage left behind, like this. Big trees down all over the place, power lines on the ground. Debris just about everywhere you looked in some neighborhoods.
Fox 10 has this huge monsoon storm covered from every angle. Linda Williams spent the day with people cleaning up from the mess.
And power still not on for a whole lot of people. Steve Kraft has that part of the story.
And amazingly, not everyone got rain. Some people didn't get a drop of it. But Dave Muncie will show us who did get soaked.
Let's start though with Andrew Hasbin, who talked to someone who literally had the roof blown off their home. Andrew, show us what you have there.
Troy, major damage. You know, you expect maybe a leaky roof or some shingles lost during a big storm. What you wouldn't expect is half the roof literally blowing away. The winds in this area near 27th Avenue and I-10 were as strong as 60 miles per hour last night.
This was a fence, and that used to be a block wall over there.
Jason Nolte took us into his backyard where the roof ended up. The powerful wind sent it flying over the house and into the back alley. It took the home's electrical box with it, too.
And I wasn't planning on waking up homeless this morning.
Thankfully, nobody was home when the storm rolled through. Nolte, his fiancée, and their 3 kids were visiting a relative. On their way back home, a friend called.
And he's like, hey, man, your roof is missing. And we originally thought he was just joking or something. And we pulled up, and the whole entire neighborhood was out here. People I'd never seen in my life out here, just lined up along the street taking pictures. And it was a wreck.
Some of the other homes in the neighborhood were damaged too.
We just saw things flying all over, the AC units falling off the roofs.
Our whole house is all wet inside, so I just stood in the hallway because I was too scared to come out here.
But none of the damage in this area compares to the damage at Nolte's home. Now, he and his family will have to move out.
At first, you couldn't tell how much was really missing, but then to really see the whole thing. And I walked out here last night, and I did see the shadow of this, but I couldn't really see it. But when you really see it during the daytime, it makes a big difference.
The Red Cross is giving this family some temporary housing, but soon this family of 5 will have to look for a new home. Reporting live in Phoenix, I'm Andrew Hasbin, Fox 10 News.
Thanks, Andrew. A Phoenix home badly damaged during a fire, and the people who were inside believe that the fire might have been caused by the storm. This happened early this morning in a neighborhood near the Loop 202 and State Route 143. Somebody in the home heard some popping sounds and then saw the flames in the backyard. Crews have not said exactly what caused the fire, but there were power lines down near the house, and the people who were inside believe the fire might have been storm-related.
Started in the back, and the place where it started, there was no electrical or anything, so it's kind of weird how it just came up.
All 4 people inside, they made it out alive, but the roof has a lot of damage, as you see there. And apparently the family that lives there, they had no insurance on their home.
Downtown Phoenix, one of the hardest hit areas last night in downtown Phoenix right here in this area. And then just to the north and to the west is the Encanto neighborhood. It's one of the oldest neighborhoods in the city. It's a really nice place. And boy, was it slammed last night. Linda Williams in that neighborhood. Linda, you were saying on the streets that you're on, house after house after house, major damage.
There is damage everywhere. I talked to the National Weather Service in Phoenix. They say it's likely that microbursts came through this area before 8 o'clock last night. And you don't realize those downbursts can be 100 miles an hour. Take a look at this tree. It's an Australian bottle tree. It was huge, and it is certainly no match for the winds, the heavy winds that came blasting through here. But this isn't the most incredible thing I've seen today. The wildest thing we saw today was this. It's a power pole and a transformer that dropped somehow in a person's backyard, just fell over and toppled onto that person's fence. That is just south of where we are. Now, Encanto North is an older neighborhood, so the number of trees that the wind tore out of the ground is amazing. We talked to a woman whose front door was blocked in by the dozens of trees that had fallen around her home. It's really amazing. No one was hurt, but there are a lot of tattered flags, a lot of frayed nerves, as residents remember the wind that blew through here just before 8 last night.
And then the sound, like, whoa, like that, comes like that, and I said, get the baby in the hallway.
It was a freight train. When people, like in Kansas or Nebraska, tell you that it sounds like a freight train coming down the street, they're not kidding.
It was like that train, that whoo, whoo, whoo sound. I went through Ike in Houston. It was more of a consistent thing for a couple hours, but this was a lot more intense, really fast.
But the National Weather Service says, you know what, it may have felt like a hurricane. It was not a hurricane, but it did plenty of damage. APS has been working all day to restore power to the hundreds of people in this neighborhood. A lot of folks have said that they just are either going to stay at a hotel tonight, maybe with some friends, because it is sweltering inside. It's not even that comfortable outside. APS hoping to have the power back on by midnight tonight. Reporting live from North Encanto, I'm Linda Williams, Fox 10 News.
Thank you, Linda. Still a very warm, sticky day, so power outage is a big concern tonight. APS and SRP working to restore power to tens of thousands of customers.
At the height of the storm, up to 70,000 people lost power, and that number was down to about 50,000 this morning.
Give you a look at where the power is out right now, and it's a map we want to show you, and it's kind of an interesting map because it shows you all kinds of stuff. Well, I guess we're not going to see the map. We will show you this. These are power lines down and sparking.
Yeah, SRP, to give you a little information on the power outage, says about 1,700 customers are without power. APS says most of the 2,200 customers should have their lights back on soon, but basically some may have to wait until tomorrow.
And most of the power outages we saw, we were going to see on that map, were a little bit north of downtown Phoenix. There were some down in the Gilbert area. There were some in like South Mesa. So really the track of the storm. For more on the power outages, we have links to the APS and SRP websites on fox10phoenix.com. All right, Steve Kraft now live with some of the efforts to get this power back on. Steve.
Well, guys, we're at 52nd Street and Virginia. We are in East Phoenix, and SRP trucks are a common sight in this neighborhood. Some of the streets, as you can see, are still closed. It's going to take a lot of work to get this neighborhood back to normal.
As repair crews work to restore power just down the block, Joseph Russell's thankful the storm that almost flattened his home didn't flatten him.
I just got home after it happened and the storm was still on and I couldn't see things very well, but I knew something bad had happened.
A huge tree toppled onto his property, smashing down into his shed and barely sparing his house. The force so great, it ripped a hole in the asphalt as the tree crashed down to the ground.
That's a pretty close call.
It's real close, yeah.
It was the same scene right across the street.
And look at this, same area, 52nd Street and Virginia. An uprooted pine tree because of the storm. It fell on top of a camper. You can see it crushed it.
Mr. Russell glad he wasn't in the path of a falling tree.
Where are you going to go?
Well, I have some options. I'm not sure yet. I'm just kind of hanging loose.
What does this tell you about the power of nature?
It's awesome.
You must feel kind of lucky.
It's very fortunate. It could have been worse.
It certainly could have been worse. So we've seen all those trucks hard at work today. Some of them seem to have finished the job. They're obviously making some progress here. That's good news. This was yet another reminder just how fierce that storm was coming through the valley last night. Reporting live, Steve Kraft, Fox 10 News.
All right, thank you, Steve. And one reason behind today's power outage downtown, the storm knocked down these power lines near Central and Fillmore. It was intense. At least some of the lines came down after a tree hit a transformer. Just an example of what those winds, those powerful 65-mile-an-hour winds, could do last night. A pole's no match for that. One pole snapped dangerously close to the Phoenix public market, but no one was hurt.
So power poles are one thing. What about a semi-truck? Also no match for these storms. It was toppled over in the winds on the eastbound lanes of I-10 near 19th Avenue. It was a big tractor trailer, rolled over and landed on a car. You see that little red car? Yeah, look at that, just behind it. Imagine the thousands of pounds of that trailer if it would have landed on, the passenger cabin there. So they were just a couple feet away from having a real issue. Fortunately, nobody was hurt. The driver says it happened so quickly, he had no time to react.
And the rain came down so hard for so long, about an hour's worth of just heavy downpours, and a lot of areas and picked up a lot of rain because of that. But then other places didn't see a single drop of rain.
I heard about that on my Facebook page. Why didn't the West Side get this, Dave? Everybody's wondering how come they didn't get the rain. So where did it rain and where didn't it rain, Dave?
Yeah, once again, the West Side, because the West Side does get left out a lot. Take a look at the amounts here. Nothing on the West Side. We have a little bit down by Levine Mesa with 1 in 600. This is right on the border of Scottsdale and Phoenix, 1 in 22. This is not Sky Harbor. This is the flood district control, flood control district that's reporting this 102. In the area of Sky Harbor, just to the northwest of Sky Harbor, 9/800ths of an inch. Just north of Sky Harbor, 71/100ths of an inch. You can see in Tempe, 91/100ths of an inch. Pretty good, but that's not the big stuff. Let's take a look here and see where the big stuff is. 1.5 inches at 4th Avenue in Jefferson. They had 1 in 30/100ths at Thomas and 32nd, 1 in 30 at Perry Park. Papago Park also got 1 in 30/100ths of an inch. 1 in 26 at 4th Street in Van Buren, and 1 in 22/100ths of an inch at the 202 and the 143. So yeah, lots of rain out there last night. And of course the big question is, what about tonight? What's going to be happening? So let's take a look around. It doesn't look too bad, but then it didn't look too bad last night. We did see some storms down south. Actually, they were up in this area last night starting to develop. But take a look at this. We've got some development coming out of the south here. There's a little bit more to add to it. There's a little bit of action up north. That is moving away from us, however, and that stuff in the eastern mountains is moving away from us as well. But there is some active weather out there, and there's a slight chance of rain for the valley. We'll have more coming up.
All right, thank you, Dave. And throughout the night and all day today, our Fox 10 viewers have been sending and sharing their pictures with us of the storm, the damage left behind, and the cleanup. And there's a lot of cleanup going on today.
Really. And, our viewers are awesome, Carrie. They're taking some really good pictures on our tag board. I don't know if they're just getting to be better photographers or if the cameras are getting better, but the composition is nice. And we look at a few of these, from lightning strikes to in the middle there, Brandy Porter, somebody riding their bike down a street just full of trees. And Celeste is retweeting a picture of a guy standing on top of a huge fall of a tree or something like that. And
I like the one Courtney put up. Your house survives, and you get out and you think, wow, house survived. And then you get to the driveway and there's a tree on your car as you head to work.
Well,
I guess it's better than your house not surviving.
Good news, bad news, yeah.
Well, humans weren't the only ones affected by the storm. Check out this antelope roaming around the Phoenix Zoo. Probably had a pretty scary night, might be appreciating the freedom that it has right now. It got loose out of its enclosure. All of the animals are accounted for according to the zoo, but it was not open to the public today, and we're just getting word that the zoo will also be closed tomorrow as well. They have a lot of cleanup to do. And we're going to talk about the trees that were toppled, including this one right there. You're going to get a sense of the size of that tree from Sky Fox. You can see it. And when you see it from the ground, it's shocking. Corey McCloskey has that story. We'll have it a little bit later.
All right, after
and trees uprooted throughout the valley as well.
Linda Williams now is live in one of the hardest hit areas near 18th Avenue and Thomas. Linda?
Yeah, they call this area North Encanto, and it's one of the more historic areas of Phoenix, so a lot of mature trees and things, and they couldn't stand up to whatever blew through here last night. Everywhere you look in this neighborhood, you see trees down, you see pieces of carport thrown up in trees and landing in people's front yards and on the street. Now, if you look up just a little bit, you see that this neighborhood does not have power. APS working feverishly since last night to bring power back, but they are actually having to replace poles and restring those lines. Heading north, this is 18th Avenue, and once again, trees down, and actually trees that they've chopped up and moved over to the side, but still, huge trees are just taking up the entire neighborhood, a lot of people's front yards. We've talked to people here. They are rallying. They say they're very, very close here in North Encanto, all pulling together, helping neighbor just clean up. This home hard hit. We're going to talk to these folks afterwards because they have video of a tree actually being pulled up. But what caught our eye was their American flag. I mean, it's still hanging in there, but it's looking rather bedraggled, and it was no match for the wind that came racing through here last night. The flag on 7th Avenue, I don't know if we've shown that one, that also just shredded by this incredibly strong monsoon storm. So we're going to go talk to these people. We've been talking to everyone in the neighborhood. They're all trying to stay safe and support each other, but I'm telling you, it is sweltering. Pretty soon they're going to have to be looking for alternatives of where they can go and cool down for tonight. Reporting live from North Encanto, I'm Linda Williams, Fox 10 News.
Your exclusive AccuWeather forecast with Dave Muncy on Fox 10 News.
Well, that was pretty exciting. Take a look at the city, boy, after last night. Clean the air out, probably clean the streets up a little bit too, if you don't think about all of the debris left over from the trees and the poles. We have 97 degrees right now. We've got a few clouds out there. There's no wind. 59 degrees on the dew point, 29%. On the humidity, temperatures right now 99 at Fountain Hills, 92 at Cave Creek. We have 97 in Ahwatukee, 100 still up in Glendale. That low pressure system still ushering in a little bit of moisture. We find most of it on the east side. Take a look there. That's some of the numbers we had from last night. Look at that, 1.5 inches at 4th Avenue and Jefferson Street. We had 1:30 at Thomas and 32nd, 1:30 at Perry Park. Papago Park had about the same, and then 4th Avenue and Van Buren 126th, and then 122 at the 202 and the 143. And yeah, we do have a little bit of moisture kind of hanging around. Nothing in the city at this time. Some stuff south of us here, and a little bit down there in that southeastern corner. Got some kind of traveling across the north. We did have a few advisories for flooding in that area, but those have expired. And a couple of good storms near St. John's and Show Low popping up through the day and through the night tonight. We'll see a few of those. We have a slight chance of a storm. 99 degrees for the high today. 116 is the record. 96 in Scottsdale, 100 in Glendale, 99 in Mason, 99 out at Luke. And as you can see here, other numbers from around the state, 76 at Flagstaff. We had 109 degrees at Gila Bend, 104 in Yuma, 106 at Lake Havasu, 88 at Payson, 92 at Globe today. Hey, did you know? Second warmest August ever. Average August high was 104.4 degrees. The 2015 average high for August was 107.7. The hottest day in August was a record. It was the 14th. It was 117, and then the average August 2015 low was 85.8. The average low for August is 82.7, so it was a warm August, and then a stormy one too. Boy, did we end up with a good storm. 104 to 102 on the normal line. As you can see, we start out below it, we work our way up to it, and a little bit above it over the next 10-day period. Take a look at your day. 99 on the high, 79 on the low, 104 and 81. Normal high and low. Record high 116, record low at 63. Looking across the country, well, once again, we get some pretty good moisture, as you can see from what what is left of Tropical Storm Erica, tropical depression, now a low pressure system. Also, we have another low pressure system in the Gulf that has been causing some problems. And as we run down and take a look at both of them, you can see this one getting close to New Orleans. And this, of course, remnants of the tropical depression near Tallahassee. And then let's take also a look out here in the Pacific at Jimena, as Jimena gets closer and closer to the Hawaiian Islands. If you're planning a trip, this is Ignacio up here, kind of falling apart a little bit, still a little bit of a threat, but way north of the islands. Don't think the same thing is going to happen here. There was a little bit of shear on this thing earlier, but it still has winds of 121 miles an hour. They were 142 yesterday afternoon. So if you are planning a trip to the islands, make sure you keep track of this particular hurricane. As we look at these numbers, 92 in New Orleans, 94 in Memphis, 95 in Washington, D.C., in Detroit 90, 86 in Minneapolis, 90 in Omaha, 94 in Wichita, 90 in Denver, 89 in Bismarck. Folks, it's the 1st of September. What's going on here? 92 at Salt Lake City, 67 in Seattle. Well, there's a number where it should be. As far as we are concerned, overnight and tomorrow morning, 49 at the Grand Canyon, 69 at Globe, 82 at Gila Bend. We'll see another low 80-degree temperature at Yuma for tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, 105 at Yuma, 84 up at Prescott. We'll be looking at 78 at Show Low, 74 at Flagstaff, and 104 in Casa Grande. Take a look at your forecast for the night here. There is a slight chance of rain, 85 degrees, 103 degrees for tomorrow, with a little chance of rain on the day tomorrow as well. In fact, you can see through the period, we're going to have a slight chance of rain, a better chance on Thursday, and then backing off a little bit on Friday. How do you like those temperatures? A couple of upper 90-degree temperatures, but don't get used to it. Yep, we're going back to the big stuff again. In fact, we'll be back to 105 by next week. Watch your kids around water.
Look who I stole.
Hello.
I stole my best bud.
Hello, Kinsey.
Hi.
We haven't hung out in forever.
It's been too long, friend. We watched you do some for serial weather coverage today. You said it was like no other storm you've seen here in the valley.
Yeah, I mean, especially downtown where it stormed, it rained so hard.
Yeah.
And for so long.
Yeah.
You know, usually it's like, 4 minutes you've been here when everybody runs outside and looks at the storm.
Everybody runs outside, they document it for social media, and then they come back in.
Well, because then by the time you do that, it's usually over. Mm-hmm. But this just went on and on and on.
It did. It was kind of scary. I was at the AMC down the street, and the entire power went out inside the AMC.
Ooh.
And so...
What happened then?
Well, I don't want to talk about it, but I'm just kidding.
Wow.
But so the all of the projectors went out, and there were 24, and so everybody, of course, flooded into the hallway, and they said, if you want to continue to watch the movie, we have one person walking to every theater and returning on the projector. So.
Well, how'd they do that without power?
Well, when it came back on, because everybody flooded it. It was scary. Everybody flooded the hallways, and they said, somebody's gonna walk back into each one and turn on all of the projectors. We stayed. It got hot and muggy though in there, and then it was raining through the roof. It was like being at work.
There are a lot of issues. Yes. Had a few drips on my desk.
I know, you always like pull the trash can out.
Yeah, I know. It was raining. It was raining hard. It was a good storm. And I'm just happy nobody got hurt or anything, but I know a lot of people's houses got trashed.
Oh, it's horrible. I mean, that man that lost his entire roof, because they're in spots, you don't realize how powerful these are because you can just almost walk right past one.
Yeah, or be like one street over and you're saying, well, I'm just getting a mist.
Exactly.
And, 150 feet over, it's just... But I learned something interesting. I think it was last week when we talked to the National Weather Service about microbursts and these downdrafts. And I always knew that it was basically like we've talked about before, where the moisture and the heat, the moisture goes up and up and up, and it gathers and creates this huge thunderhead, right? Mm-hmm. It could go way, way high up. And the higher it gets cooler. And it condenses together, and then it gets heavy, and then it all shoots down. But what I didn't know was... the National Weather Service said when all that water condenses together, or the vapor does, and becomes water and falls, when it falls, it displaces the air underneath it.
Oh, no.
So, like, if you dropped a pillow or something, and it goes like that. So it's actually all the air underneath the rain, and that's what shoots down, and then after that, then the rain comes.
Yeah, it's like, so it's when, you know, like if you had paper and you dropped a pillow and that paper.
Exactly. Paper, feathers, dust, all light things.
All right, thank you. I was trying to paint a picture. I was trying to give them a visual. I had marked in my agenda for you to tell your TP story because I thought it was cute. Do you feel comfortable telling that? Or is that too personal?
No, it's okay. Did I tell you when Ashley called me on the speakerphone?
I thought that was
that's
cute.
the whole thing. Okay. So I put it on my Facebook page. It was out there. So my younger daughter, Ashley, made her volleyball team. She goes to junior high, but they still have varsity and junior varsity at her junior high. So she made the varsity team, which is great, and she's been working really hard. So as a congratulations, some other athletes and some of her friends TP'd our house.
Yeah.
Now this is 2 Fridays ago, not last Friday, but the Friday before. TP'd it on Friday, which was kind of a light job. I could tell it was girls that did it because nothing was high and it was all kind of low and it was kind of like everything was decorated or whatever, and that was easy to clean up. Saturday night, we got hit by the boys.
Oh, no.
And I don't know where they get the money to buy this many toilet paper rolls. But I mean, there literally had to be.
Toilet paper is expensive.
Oh, yeah. And I'm telling you, roll after roll after roll. They got it high up in my trees. They got a big, tall mesquite tree in my front yard, so it's way high up where I can't reach it. All day long, like full rolls were falling off my roof.
Oh my god!
So they were throwing it over my roof, and some of them made it and some of them didn't, and they have a ficus tree, and that was all. I mean, it was a huge mess.
So tell me, when you had little girls and you were raising these baby girls, did you think, I don't even have to deal with stuff like being toilet papered? I got little girls.
I don't know. No, I wasn't thinking that.
This is your reality, though.
It is, and you know what? That first weekend, I was like, okay, I get it. Congratulations, Ash. She came out and she helped me out. But I wasn't thrilled. So last weekend, was it Friday night? It must have been Friday. Yeah, it was. Was it Friday? I think it was Friday night. We got hit again by the boys again. And signs in my front yard, Skittles all over.
I love Skittles.
Forks and spoons stuck in my grass, like bizarre, weird stuff. And so I wasn't happy.
No.
And way more toilet paper up on the roof. I mean, still, full rolls are rolling off and falling down. And when that happens, you got a big stream coming off your roof. And it's a pretty high roof. So I got up on Sunday.
Next time you should save those for me because I'm too embarrassed to buy toilet paper.
Why is that embarrassing?
Every time you go to check out, they know you go to the bathroom.
Well, yes.
So if you could just save those for me next time. So I
You
don't
know,
have to do that.
Is it Kim Jong-un, the leader of North Korea? He doesn't go to the bathroom. Yes. He's the only one that I know of who doesn't use toilet paper at all or, go to the bathroom. So anyway, on Sunday, I'm like, okay, this is enough. And it was hot, and it was nasty up there. And we had AC
this is
troubles.
interrupting your golf time.
No, I golfed on Saturday, trust me.
Oh, okay.
But on Sunday, I got up on the roof, it had rained, and so there's toilet paper stuck in the gutters or whatever. And so I told Ashley, I said, look, and Carson was the main culprit, this Carson kid. I said, you tell Carson that your dad said, enough, okay? You've gotten us twice. Oh, I left out that Ashley went and toilet papered the boys' houses with her friends the week before. I said, you got them once, they got us twice.
Is this what flirting is? Is that what that is?
I think it kind of is. I'm not sure what it is.
I don't know how to flirt. I just proposed.
But I said, you go right to the jugular. I said, that's enough. You tell your friend Carson that's enough. So yesterday, as I'm making my lunch, getting ready to come in here and go to work, my phone rings and it's Ashley. And I'm thinking, this is odd. She never calls me in the middle of school. And I'm like, hi, honey, what's going on? She's like, all right, Dad, I've got you on speaker. And Carson and all the boys, none of them believe that you said that that's enough. And so I had to go through the whole, be the dad spiel on a speakerphone of kids I've never met. And I'm like, look, guys, I said the whole thing that I just said. I said, and I'm serious. And what I hear back is, oh my God, Troy Hayden, you're my idol. I watch you every night. One of the kids
in
yells.
Man voice, right?
Yeah,
it's like a young guy.
Yeah, it's a young guy. And he's like, I love you. And I said, well, I'll love you back if you don't TP us again. And that's it. So there you go. That's the whole story.
Joni says, Troy is so entertaining. Did you TP when you were a kiddo or no?
I think I did once or twice.
Yeah, it never really was something I got into.
No, and see, and the thing is, kids have access to so much more stuff than we did.
Like
We weren't poor, but I would never dream of like asking my mom for money to go buy toilet paper to TP somebody. So like we had like a hospital near our house or whatever, and we just like grab whatever toilet paper roll was. And this is in the old days before they had like the stuff all locked up.
Yeah.
Probably because people like us in the 70s were stealing toilet paper out of stuff. But we'd grab like 3 or 4 rolls. That'd be the whole thing.
Yeah, that was the
extent of it. I'm
yeah.
telling you, there was probably at least 2 dozen, if not 3 dozen rolls everywhere on my house.
Goodness.
Everywhere.
Man, and did you have to clean that up by yourself, or did Ash help you?
No, Ashley and my wife Steph did all the stuff on the ground. I've got a long tree trimmer, and I got all the stuff I could get with that. And then I had to get up on the roof and get all that stuff down, and then use a tree trimmer like risking my life.
Yeah, to get
getting
the
stuff off the tree. Yeah, and I said, that's it. It's enough.
Did the neighbors see you out cleaning?
They may have.
Did you
I have
feel
cool
very?
neighbors.
Did you feel very Vegas vacation Chevy Chase with the entire family out, like cleaning up?
We did it at different times, actually. They did it, I think, during the day. What was I doing on Sunday? Oh, I had to do volleyball stuff, and then I golfed. No, I mean, my neighbors are cool. I'm always out. I take my, this is how close I am to my neighbors. We share a driveway. We've got this long driveway that goes up, and one house over here, one house over here. And so after I drop my kids off at school, which I always do in my boxers, I always take the garbage cans down. So my neighbors always see me in like my sleep T-shirt and my boxers once a week.
Oh, this is why News Now exists, because you all now have this special moment.
Flip-flops, boxers, and my sleep T-shirt.
Do you have I like Havianas. Do you have a specific kind of flip-flop you like? Like Tebow?
Payless Shoe Source. I used to get them like Air something.
Air Jordans?
No, my goodness. No, they're just like total foamy flip-flops. But I get one pair at the beginning of the summer.
That's
and
a
they
good plan.
pretty much last me all summer. I think I've got like 3 pairs now. I didn't get one this year.
Oh, wow. Budgeting?
So I rotate. Cutting back.
Did you cut back for some toilet
paper
for Ash?
I have kids getting ready to go to school.
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's nice.
But I had to pay for a bunch of classes for Lexi, because what's interesting is she's getting 17 units.
Yeah, you were
this
so
year
proud of
as
her.
a
You
junior.
keep talking about how she's getting college credit.
I'm so proud of her because she's saving her old man some money.
She's a smart girl.
She's a smart girl. So, yeah, she'll come out this year and next year. She'll cut an entire year off college. She'll only go to school for 3 years. Unless she wants to get a graduate.
Unless she wants to party.
She'll get out of school in 3 years.
She's excited about Bluebell coming back, I saw.
She is excited. Who isn't? That homemade vanilla is heaven.
Delicious. It's delicious. All right, well, I monopolized enough of your time.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Good seeing you.
Thank you, Troy. We
Bye-bye.
love you. And let's jump into some of the final stories we had from our 5 p.m. broadcast.
Actually, are going to start with a Fox 10 news alert on a morning where we've been telling you people certainly need to take it slow in many of these intersections. There has been a bad accident at 75th Avenue and Thomas. 2 children apparently very badly hurt. Let's go live to Sky Fox. Troy Barrett, our photojournalist. Troy, what can you tell us?
And we're hearing that 2 12-year-olds were in the crosswalk when this 4-car crash happened at this intersection, and we understand that the 2 12-year-olds are in critical condition this morning. You can see the condition of these vehicles, very badly bashed up. All the airbags deployed in a couple of these cars, and one more vehicle here. As far as fire and first responders, everyone is off the scene now. Just police here doing their investigation. For the most part, I would say that this intersection is closed. The only direction that traffic is getting through is southbound on 75th Avenue. You can still make it through, but east and westbound on Thomas and northbound on 75th Avenue is closed here at 75th and Thomas.
Troy, does it appear the kids were hitting the crosswalk there along 75th Avenue, or as it crosses Thomas?
I haven't heard exactly which crosswalk the 2 12-year-olds were in, but I have heard that they were both in the crosswalk when this crash happened.
Yeah, it does appear that either witnesses or family members, etc., may be kind of right in that area. So this is 75th Avenue and Thomas. And both of those 12-year-olds, it's still unclear what caused the smash up in the first place, but it appears they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. And both of them now badly hurt in the hospital in critical condition.
An Operation Cyber Juice, DEA raids the valley. This is going to be a national story.
Couple of hours, the DEA here in Phoenix speaking out about something known as Operation Cyber Juice, a big bust involving underground steroid labs right here in the valley. And Mark Martinez has details on what this bust is all about. Mark?
Yeah, Troy, and the bulk of the black market steroids in this bust were being manufactured right here in Arizona in those underground labs. So far, a total of 90 people across the country have been arrested in connection to this steroid ring, and agents have seized more than $2 million in cash and other assets. This table full of evidence seized by the DEA in Arizona as part of a nationwide bust called Operation Cyber Juice, targeting steroid traffickers in 20 states.
So what we have back here is all the stuff for a steroid manufacturing lab. We have the raw material, we have the bottles of injectables, we have the pill presses, we have the glassware, we have all that stuff.
Special agent in charge with Arizona DEA, Doug Coleman, says the investigation began early last year. In Arizona alone, the bust involved 4 underground labs, leading to 8 arrests. Agents seized 5,000 vials and 150,000 steroid pills. The raw materials were purchased over the internet from foreign countries and then converted to a finished product in the labs.
The people that are running the labs here, they've got thousands of customers around the country and around the world. They then take the finished product, which is here, and send it out from here to these other places.
DEA agents worked side by side with Homeland Security investigations targeting the underground trade of performance-enhancing drugs.
We have some keen investigators that are able to put the pieces of the puzzle together, demonstrated here with the results of this investigation, and really dismantle an organization.
Now, late last week, the DEA raided a juice bar inside a North Phoenix gym as part of this investigation, but the DEA telling us there's no evidence that steroids were actually being sold out of that business. In all, agents have executed 30 search warrants around the country. Reporting live, Mark Martinez, Fox 10 News.
And let's jump into some national news. The campaign 2015 topic is always one of, I think it's always really kind of one of our primary stories here on News Now, whether it is a candidate speaking in a different city or a scandal, because I think we're going to have plenty of those this go around. Let's take a look at some national packages in regards to campaign 2016.
Your phone rings constantly and you get voicemails to the tune of, "Hey, John, it's so-and-so. I'd like to talk to you about my campaign." That's code for they're reaching for your wallet, really.
John Jordan is a mega donor, a multimillionaire who helps bankroll political campaigns.
In 2008, I fell in love.
In 2012, he spent almost $2 million on this negative spot against President Obama.
But by 2012, our relationship was in trouble.
This year, Jordan remains uncommitted, but says not a day goes by that a campaign doesn't ask him for money.
The candidate will call and pretend to be interested in what you're doing in your business, and they'll have a little sheet in front of them about what you do and who you are, pets, anything their staff can scrape up. Then they'll pivot to the race. Geez, this is an interesting time in America, Then comes the ask, and they have a specific number that they want to ask for. And then they put you on the spot.
Every candidate I've ever worked for hated the process of making the phone calls to ask big contributors to make that donation.
Among Republicans, campaign consultant Joe Trippi understands why many donors remain uncommitted.
It's just the best position for them to be in. They don't want to keep going back to the checkbook over and over.
I am in great admiration of the people that are badgering me and calling me.
Foster Freeze supports Rick Santorum, though other candidates still call, and that is not likely to change.
The only time you hear back is when they want more.
Among the 100 largest GOP donors from the last election, about 25% have given to one candidate, half to multiple candidates, while the rest remain uncommitted. Among Democrats, Hillary has a big lead, but Trippi says Joe Biden is giving some donors second thoughts. In Los Angeles, William Lajeunesse, Fox News.
If Hillary is the candidate, which I doubt, that would be a dream come true.
After an engaging performance in the primetime Fox News debate, Dr. Ben Carson, the retired neurosurgeon, is surgeon in the polls. The latest Monmouth University poll of likely Republican caucus goers in the early battleground state of Iowa, conducted over the last 3 days, shows Carson capturing 23% and tied with real estate mogul Donald Trump for the lead. Likewise, the latest Bloomberg Politics Des Moines Register poll of likely Republican caucus goers in Iowa, conducted last week, shows Trump leading Carson by 5 points, roughly equal to the margin of error. Pundits race to explain the Ben Carson boomlet.
His anti-politician style, very soft-spoken, funny, humorous, appealing, is really scoring with voters in Iowa. And when you look at the favorability of Trump and of Ben Carson and also of Carly Fiorina, 3 candidates who've never held public office, I think the voters believe they can more credibly claim that they could clean up the mess in government.
Thank you. I love you too. Trump trained his sights on Huma Abedin, the longtime aide to Hillary Clinton. Abedin's husband, Anthony Weiner, resigned his House seat after a well-publicized sexting scandal, and Abedin has herself drawn scrutiny for her private consulting work and her email account on Mrs. Clinton's notorious private server. Huma Abedin, the top aide to Hillary Clinton and the wife of perv sleazebag Anthony Weiner, Trump tweeted Monday morning, was a major security risk as a collector of info.
Look, I recognize, Todd, that you love to try to stir up dissension and attacks between Republicans. Well, you're stirring.
Displaying a bit of Trump's pugnacity with the press, specifically Todd Gilman of the Dallas Morning News.
God bless you.
Texas Senator Ted Cruz stumped in New Hampshire for the first time since May. In the Bloomberg poll, Cruz placed a solid third behind Trump and Carson. Hoping to steal or inherit Trump's supporters, Cruz tied recent attacks on police officers to President Obama.
And I do think we're seeing the manifestation of the rhetoric and vilification of law enforcement, of the police that is coming from the top, that's coming from the President of the United States, and it's coming from senior officials.
The last time Monmouth University released a statewide poll in Iowa in mid-July, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker was the frontrunner. He's dropped 15 points since then. In Washington, James Rosen, Fox News.
More turbulence for Hillary Clinton today as State Department officials revealed their latest document dump includes about 150 emails with classified information beyond the 63 they already found. Clinton has said they were not marked classified at the time, and officials stuck to their line. The information has been deemed classified after the fact.
Can you say from that podium categorically that Secretary Clinton followed the rules and the law?
I'm just not going to answer that question. It's not our goal. It's not our function in this regard in releasing these emails.
Then there are revelations from emails the State Department has not yet made public, such as an email obtained exclusively by Fox News, which shows an aide to former President Bill Clinton asked the State Department in August 2012 for permission for the Clinton Global Initiative to accept money from a company that had done business with Iran. Petronas, the government-owned Malaysian oil company, would like to send its CEO, Shamsul Azhar bin Abbas, to CGI as a paying member, Bill Clinton's director of foreign policy wrote on August 9, 2012. For years, they were shipping oil to Iran. Would the CEO attending CGI as a paying member be concerned for USG, he said, in reference to the U.S. government. The email was sent to Cheryl Mills, Hillary Clinton's chief of staff, and she did not say yes or no on money coming in from a company aligned with Iran. Mills replied August 10th, quote, "Can you check the facts? Seems odd they would ship oil to Iran. Either way, is your point that they do business without a waiver?" A reference to a waiver from United Nations sanctions that had been ramping up over Iran's nuclear program when Clinton was leading the charge.
We do not believe that Iran will peacefully resolve this unless the pressure continues.
Petronas, which has these famous towers in Malaysia, announced in March 2012 it would stop importing crude oil from Iran. And Clinton officials note there's no evidence the executive ended up giving CGI money. All of this coming as Democratic Socialist Senator Bernie Sanders keeps surging in Iowa. He's now pulled to within just 7 points of Clinton in the latest Bloomberg Des Moines Register poll.
That is the Obama coalition in Iowa. She is on a trajectory that's dramatically downward.
Meanwhile, Vice President Joe Biden, still mulling whether to enter the race, choked up as he made a surprise appearance at a political event in Delaware his late son used to attend.
I mean this to say thank you.
An advisor to the vice president told me if Clinton drops to under 40% nationally, he's much more likely to get in. At the State Department, Ed Henry, Fox News.
calling the decision to have an abortion agonizing and painful, Pope Francis announced today special forgiveness for women who have terminated a pregnancy. Quote, I have decided, notwithstanding anything to the contrary, to concede to all priests for the Jubilee year the discretion to absolve of the sin of abortion, those who have procured it and who, with contrite heart, seek forgiveness for it. Reaction within the Catholic community was mixed. Father Frank Pavone of Priests for Life said, quote, we who oppose abortion do not oppose those who have had abortions. Rather, we welcome them with mercy and compassion. Liberal group Catholics for Choice said this, the very narrowness of Francis's statement on having a particular year of forgiveness suggests that he still has a blind spot when it comes to women and what they want. The Pope's comments come on the same day yet another undercover video was released by the Center for Medical Progress. In it, a woman identified as the procurement manager for a fetal tissue company talks about the legal trade on fetal parts, which wasn't banned when restrictions on embryonic stem cell research were being put in place.
And you know what the really weird thing is? Embryonic, there's still a lot of controversy about that, you know. But then fetal kind of got lost in the mix. You know, you have
was it ever controversial? I mean, I'm young, so I don't know.
It was never outlawed.
Because much of what's shown in the videos is either legal or at the margins of the law, there are growing calls by pro-life advocates for lawmakers to close loopholes and defund Planned Parenthood. Today, those pro-life activists are unlikely to be encouraged by Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
We just don't have the votes to get the outcome that we'd like. The president's made it very clear he's not going to sign any bill that includes defunding of Planned Parenthood. So that's another issue that awaits a new president, hopefully with a different point of view about Planned Parenthood.
House Speaker John Boehner has signaled he'd prefer to see the results of at least 4 House committee investigations into Planned Parenthood before scheduling a vote. But other GOP House members say a vote to defund the group could come much sooner. In Washington, Shannon Bream, Fox News.
And hi, I apologize. I played the wrong package just now. I was trying to stay in the political realm, although that could be considered a little bit political, with an updated Hillary email story.
Much of this has to do with whether Hillary Clinton put classified information at risk by using that home-based email server, and much of the information released by the State Department last night had to be redacted. What was Hillary Clinton emailing while she was Secretary of State? We now know a little bit more about that after the State Department released thousands of her emails. They are heavily redacted. Broad sections have been wiped out, and 125 of them are now considered classified. That's a problem because Clinton's home-based email system that she insisted on using may not have been secure. Shannon Coffin was a Justice Department lawyer during the Bush administration.
They were classified when they were written.
They were.
And everyone in the State Department should know that foreign government communications are necessarily classified because
Clinton's defense is that none of the information, she says, was actually marked classified at the time it was sent. But there are other interesting tidbits here. While Clinton has said that she used a private server because she only wanted to carry one email device, the emails reveal that she in fact had at least 2. Your iPad has arrived, writes an aide in one exchange. That is exciting news, Clinton responds. Do you think you can teach me to use it on the flight to Kiev next week? But much of her communications may remain a mystery. Many were deleted. And some, like one exchange between Clinton and her aide, Huma Abedin, were entirely blanked out by the State Department. Only the subject line remains. FYI, it says. And there's also an indication that concerns about email privacy may run in the family. An email from Chelsea Clinton to her mother includes the line, "Please do not forward this in whole or in part attributed to me without asking me first." In Washington, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
How exciting. Those seem like some emails that we would like to read word for word here on News Now. That could keep us busy, huh? During the 6:30 to 9 show, that could absolutely keep us busy. Here's an interesting story. Firefighter murder for hire. This is a court. This is a current trial that's going on out of Nevada. Too bad we can't get the play-by-play because you know I love long-form trial content. I am a trial junkie.
Have you made a decision as to whether you intend to testify or not testify in this case?
George TFA decided not to testify in his defense, but his sister did.
TFA is facing murder charges for allegedly hiring Noel Stevens to beat his wife Shauna TFA to death with a hammer back in September of 2012. Stevens confessed to the murder and testified that TFA offered to pay him $5,000. But TFA's sister described her brother as a high school valedictorian who went on to graduate from West Point.
In all the years that you've known George, have you ever known him to be a violent person?
Never, ever, ever.
The defense then attacked Stevens' credibility and mental health.
States he hears whispers and, quote, I don't know, sometimes 2 or 3, I can't tell, end quote. Quote, sometimes they tell me to hurt people, kill them, stuff like that, end quote.
Earlier in the day, prosecutors presented pages of phone records that show calls and text messages between TFA and Stevens, 87 calls and 26 text messages the month Shauna TFA was beaten to death in her Summerlin apartment. Like the rest of its argument, the defense's cross-examination was brief.
You, of course, have no idea what was being said in any of these conversations.
I do not.
John Dabkovich, Fox 5 News, local Las Vegas.
And I also saw this other story that I saw it on Fox National, and let me try to find it here. It was a video out of a courtroom of a father attacking daughter's look, it says a grieving dad attacks 3-year-old daughter's killer in court. I thought that this looked like it could be interesting. Let's watch it together. This is a Fox National story. It says heartwarming. Dad attacks daughter's killer in court. Maybe they meant heart-wrenching. Maybe. Oh, I bet you $1 million are going to go to a commercial. Oh, no. I don't have $1 million. I do not have it. And let's take a look at this. That is video of a grieving father attacking his 3-year-old daughter's killer in court. Dwayne Smith was in the Michigan courtroom to give a victim impact statement during the sentencing of his daughter's mother, Jasmine Gordon, and Gordon's boyfriend, Cliff Thomas. Oh my goodness, it was his daughter's mother and her boyfriend. Both Gordon and Thomas were convicted of involuntary manslaughter in connection with 3-year-old Jamelia Smith's death. Smith punched Thomas in the head before deputies separated the two men. Thomas was babysitting Jamelia in September 2014. While Gordon was at work, Jamelia was taken to the hospital with blunt force trauma injuries and pronounced dead on arrival. Let me show you this photo. This is the baby. Well, I thought I was going to show you the photo. Let me see here. Here we go. This is the baby girl. This is my Fox Detroit. This is Jamelia Smith. Gordon was sentenced to 7 to 15 years for involuntary manslaughter plus 14 to 25 years for first-degree child abuse as an aider and abettor. Her sentence will be served at the same time. Thomas was sentenced to 6 to 15 years for involuntary manslaughter and 1 to 2 years for resisting a police officer. So that was some heartbreaking footage of that father attacking his ex's boyfriend, who was responsible for the death of his daughter, whose face you can currently see on the screen right now. Yikes. That is, it's a sad story. That is a story I found via Facebook, though, from Fox National. That's a story that they had shared earlier, about 13 hours ago. And I was interested in seeing that with you. Let's see, what other national stories do we have? Back to school brawl. I wonder what this is. I see a playground.
A back-to-school rally ends in a brawl. Really? What kind of example are people setting for the children? Well, I'm here to tell you the children are weighing in.
It's supposed to be role models towards us, and you want us to act good, but you acting a fool.
11-year-old Dariana was at a back-to-school rally at Burns Elementary and Middle School on Detroit's west side. Fun, games, school supplies.
Rollers.
Good back-to-school stuff.
Yeah.
And then this.
Bro, no, stop talking to me like that, bro.
A brawl breaks out. Detroit police on scene. 5 people detained, including 2 teenage girls, and 3 men, ages 17, 23, and 24.
I'm here all the time. I'm here all the time, boy.
They needed to stop acting like fools and animals because we growing up. We follow behind our parents and elders.
These students disappointed. The rally had to shut down. The bouncy house is deflated, just like their hopes for the day. Disgusted watching some of the so-called grown-ups setting such a bad example.
So many people fight for no reason. And then it influences our kids in school, and then they start fighting. And the next thing you know, all of us gonna be in jail because we see other people doing it.
The men will be charged with disorderly conduct. The teenage girls were released to their parents. As for these students, well, the adults could learn a thing or two from them.
They keep on telling us we the next generation, we gotta do good, but we watch y'all, and y'all not doing nothing with yourselves. So if you want us to be good, y'all need to set an example for us.
On Detroit's west side, Amy Lang, Fox 2 News.
That little girl, she regulated right there. She was like, oh no. Oh mom, oh dad, no you didn't. Let's see if we can get an update on the manhunt for the Fox Lake cop killer.
On Edge. Good evening. I'm Jeff Herndon.
And I'm Dawn Hasbrook. A manhunt in the dark tonight. An army of law enforcement combing the chain of lakes from the air by helicopter and on the ground with tracking dogs, searching for the men who killed well-known and loved Fox Lake police officer Lieutenant Joe Glenowitz. The epicenter of the search is near a cement plant where the killing took place in Fox Lake, about 60 miles northwest of Chicago. We have team coverage. Journalists following the investigation tonight, beginning with Larry Yellen on the front line of the manhunt right now.
Dawn, we are a couple of blocks away from where the shooting occurred today. Police still have the area cordoned off. This small resort town of about 10,000 was turned upside down and inside out today by police officers desperately looking for the killers. Tonight, helicopters with infrared sensors and about 100 police officers will continue their search overnight. Toward sunset tonight, police choppers were still hovering above the wooded and marshy areas south of downtown Fox Lake, where police believe the 3 murder suspects could be hiding. The search began around 8 this morning after Officer Joe Glenowitz was shot and killed. He had radioed in that he was investigating suspicious activity. He was in pursuit when his radio went dead. An officer responding as backup discovered his body with his gun missing, and a massive manhunt was underway.
There are 3 suspects at large at this time. Again, described 2 male whites, 1 male black, and I don't have a further description.
The manhunt covered Fox Lake, Ingleside, and surrounding Chain of Lakes communities. It centered on the marshy area near an abandoned concrete company a short distance from the scene of the murder. Canine teams came from as far away as Evanston. SWAT teams went door to door. Waterways were searched, businesses closed, and residents were warned to stay in their homes. Jason Irvin lives next to the marshy woodlands that were the main focus of the search.
They searched our little garage. A garage in our house because it was open. They went in there, and they just been up and down here, walking down with machine guns right here, flying the helicopters, and pretty hectic. We couldn't leave our house. They told us to get in the house.
James Gertz has daughters at Grant Community High School, where there was a heavy police presence, and at Stanton Middle School. Both schools were locked down to protect students and teachers.
I knew it was going to be safe because there's a lot of security guards and stuff at our school. All the people in the school had to go to the gym, and it was really hot in there.
The Gertzes also live near the marshy area where the suspects may have fled. Jim Gertz is doubtful that they would stay there for long.
If they stay in the tree area, they might have a chance, but not in that marsh.
No, not in the marsh.
No, there's leeches and everything back in there. It's horrible. It's, snakes.
Lake County Sheriff's deputies are still recommending that residents remain inside their homes here tonight and beware of any strangers who might come to their doors. The police and fire response this morning was amazing. It looked like a scene from a movie. I mentioned Evanston, but there were also departments responding from Schiller Park and as far away as Joliet, Waukegan, Des Plaines, and Evanston. As I said, this was a massive police response. The search continues tonight as police hope to get their hands on the 3 killers. They could be on foot. There have been no reported carjackings in the area, and based on the narrowness of the search here, that they're focusing on this marshy area, it's very possible that police still believe they are in this area on foot rather than getting away by car. Back to you.
All right, Larry Ellen reporting live tonight in Fox Lake.
Well, the manhunt is now entering its 13th hour, and it's harder in the dark. A look at the map here shows one reason why police have it so tough. The town of Fox Lake, it is surrounded by woods and water. There aren't many people around. The trees make it easier to hide from helicopters. This is a massive search area that's likely to get even bigger overnight.
Why did they do this to me? They cut me out of my video and send me places I don't want to be when I'm not done watching my video. Makes me unhappy. I'm going to write a letter. I'm going to write a stern letter. It's this thing that these websites do where they auto refresh. They're life ruiners. Auto refreshers. You know, it's the equivalent of the AOL pop-up. So I apologize when our videos are interrupted. Let's see, I think I have some of the live coverage from this morning when they initially found out that the cop, bless his soul, had been shot. Let's see if this
Lake, where a manhunt is underway for 3 armed men after a police officer was shot this morning. Now, while there have been a number of media reports out there that the officer has passed away, the Lake County Sheriff's Office will only say that that police officer that was shot this morning has been injured. Authorities are asking everyone that lives in the area to remain indoors. Our Larry Ellen is live in Fox Lake, where a news conference just wrapped up. Larry Ellen.
Darlene, the scene here looks like one out of a movie. There are numerous helicopters overhead, SWAT teams on the ground. There are also K-9 units, some from as far away as Evanston, from the north suburbs of Chicago, trying to track down the 3 individuals who were involved in today's incident. About 20 minutes ago, the Lake County Sheriff's Office held a press conference. They refused to take any questions on camera, but here's what they had to say about how it all went down.
This morning at approximately 7:52 in the morning, Fox Lake police officer indicated he was out with 3 suspicious subjects. This was in the area of Route 12 and Satan Road in Fox Lake. He described the subjects as 2 male whites and 1 male black. A short time thereafter, he radioed into communications that he was in a foot pursuit when communication was lost with the officer. His backup officer arrived on the scene and located him injured with a gunshot wound. There are 3 suspects at large at this time, again described 2 male whites, 1 male black, and I don't have a further description. At this point, this is a 2-pronged investigation, so we're looking into the apprehension of the 3 subjects at large. We're utilizing multiple resources for that. We have numerous canines on the ground checking for scents. We have numerous helicopters and aircrafts in the air. We have a large number of officers on foot conducting searches of the area. At this time, in connection with that, we're working the investigation of the officer who was injured. So the Major Crime Task Force, Lake County Major Crime Task Force, has been called in for that and is heading up that investigation. We'll have more information available as it progresses, possibly another press conference later this afternoon or this evening. At this time, we're asking all area residents to remain inside, report any suspicious activity, any suspicious people by dialing 911, as we still have 3 offenders at large.
So as you heard, this incident occurred at about 7:52 a.m. this morning, just before 8 o'clock. That means that this area has essentially been under a police siege for 4 hours now as they hunt for these 3 suspects. Grant Community High School has been in a hard lockdown. Students there being kept away from the windows, and the doors have been locked to keep everyone inside. There are softer lockdowns underway at some of the other nearby schools, the elementary schools that feed into Grant Community High School. The Metro trains running through this area, the Milwaukee line, have been suspended. Passengers have been taken by buses. Right now, we don't have any indication that they are close to apprehending these suspects. 3 individuals, they are armed. The police believe they may have the weapon that was taken from the Fox Lake police officer who was wounded. And as you heard, no update, no official report on the condition of that Fox Lake police officer who was shot this morning around 8 a.m. That's the latest from here in Fox Lake. Back to you in the newsroom.
Harry, let's go back for a second. Now, as we just mentioned a couple of minutes ago, the update is that they are looking for 3 suspects and not 2, 1 African American.
Oh my God, I look like it. I just lost that feed again. I apologize. Here's a similar story. This is out of Georgia. However, this, I believe, was an accidental. Is this a package? This, I believe, is an accidental shooting. This was a cop in Georgia, and I believe one of his coworkers accidentally shot him. And I apologize if you can hear the chaos around me. We're gearing up for our 9 o'clock show, so there's a lot of activity around my little area. But here's a package out of Georgia. Injured officer shot by colleague. Hopefully
all this went down in the Gresham Park neighborhood just outside of the Atlanta city limits. Residents of this gentrifying community have been on alert because of recent burglaries. Monday night, one resident called 911 to report a possible burglary in progress and gave a physical description of the home where it was taking place. Police responded to a house matching the caller's description, but it turned out to be the wrong home. When officers got no response from the occupants, they entered through an unlocked back door into the kitchen where they encountered the family dog. Officers shot and killed the dog and then shot a man seen exiting a room off of the kitchen. The man turned out to be the homeowner. He was treated and released. One of the responding officers remains hospitalized in serious but stable condition after sustaining a gunshot to the hip. The preliminary investigation suggests the injured cop was likely shot accidentally by one of the other officers at the scene. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation has been called in to conduct an independent probe into exactly what went wrong. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
We've all heard that cats have 9 lives. Opie is no exception.
I saw blood on the top of his head. I didn't know how bad it was.
Early Thursday morning, a stray bullet went through a window in Angelica Sipes' home.
It took me a second to realize what had just happened. And the first thing I did is jumped up and checked on my son, and he was sound asleep. I saw my cat on the floor in the other room, and that's when I realized that he was shot.
The bullet went in the couch and then hit Opie, who was laying there.
It came in the top of his head, out the bottom of his neck, and back into his shoulder and out his armpit rib area.
And it didn't stop there. You can see the bullet hole where it hit the couch that Sipe was sleeping on. It then flew across the room to a love seat and lodged in a pillow, just inches from her 3-year-old son.
It could have been my son.
More, Mommy. More.
Okay.
Sipe is convinced Opie saved her son's life by taking the bullet and knew she had to save his.
There was the option to put him down.
Yeah, I told him I wanted to keep him. He was my son's little hero. I gotta do what I gotta do. He saved my son's life, so I need to keep him around.
In York, I'm Melissa Nardo, Fox 43 WPMT.
Sweet kitty cat, sweet story. Utah apparently is also getting crazy weather. Here's a story out of Utah about a woman being hit by lightning. And let's take one more look at that kitty cat.
They've cheered together. They've celebrated together. Monday night, they're praying together.
When you get scared of losing somebody, you realize how much that you really care for them, and I'd love to tell her how much she's impacted me.
Carla Groh, an assistant coach with the Lehigh softball team, is in a medically induced coma after a lightning strike on Sunday.
We don't know exactly how she's doing. She's sedated, she's on a respirator, and they say that they're going to keep her in this state for some time before they try to wake her up.
The bolt hit a tree near Carla in her backyard in Lehigh Sunday afternoon during a family gathering.
She's one of 10 children. She has brothers and sisters that have come in from all over.
Family pulls us through tragedies, and it's during tragedies we see family has a broader meaning.
She's a big part of our Lehigh softball family, and we really need her back.
Just tell everybody to, pray for the best and hope for the best for Carla.
Sad story. I mean, at least with all of our storm coverage, we had some pretty horrific damage to buildings, to vehicles, but at least we aren't having to tell you about stories like Carla's that are local. Again, that is out of Utah, and our thoughts are with Carla's friends and family and with Carla in Utah. We're sad to hear about that, absolutely. Let's see, what else do we have for you in regards to national news? Yesterday, I told you Obama was in Australia, when in reality, he was in Alaska. Thankfully, Hooner clarified. But let's take a look at Obama's Alaska visit.
President Obama arriving in Alaska Monday, where he's calling for aggressive action to help the environment. The president claiming climate change has caused extensive damage to the state's landscape.
Reduced sea levels leaves villages unprotected from floods and storm surges. Some are in imminent danger.
President Obama claims climate change is no longer a distant threat, calling it a crisis that needs to be addressed now.
Climate change is already disrupting our agriculture and ecosystems, our water and food supplies, our energy, our infrastructure, human health, human safety.
Mr. Obama also meeting with Native Alaskans, reiterating that he's working hard to help the state's people.
We've made progress so far in providing support for tribal youth, expanding access to health care, improving disaster assistance.
President Obama's visit comes one day after announcing his administration is changing the name of America's tallest mountain from Mount McKinley to Denali, which is what Alaska natives have been calling it for years.
I think it's a major step in reconciliation with Alaska Native peoples, and I look forward to more steps to come.
You just don't go and do something like that. We in Ohio, we felt it was appropriate. A guy saw that mountain when he was one of the first up there and named it after the president. No reason to change it.
While in Alaska, the president will also tape an appearance on the reality show Running Wild with Bear Grylls. The episode will focus on the alleged effects of climate change throughout the state. Kelly Wright, Fox News.
Any entanglement with ICE is not.
For Cecilia Chavez, who's undocumented, this fight is personal.
There's no middle ground for the immigrant community. It's either you collaborate or you don't.
And that is the issue, collaborating with federal immigration authorities, or ICE. Until now, Santa Clara County has not, but that may soon change. A committee took public comment on the matter today. There were those in strong support of a change, prompted in part by the death of Kate Steinle in San Francisco.
It doesn't make any sense to let violent criminals on our streets if we have a choice.
Do what is right immediately and stop this sanctuary policy before another innocent American citizen gets killed.
And there were those who say a change in policy will do more harm than good.
Singling out immigrants to be punished twice simply due to status is not just unfair, it is ineffective.
And all this is going to do is send us back into shadows, and we're going to be afraid to call in police authority when a crime is being done to us.
Santa Clara County officials say they might support notifying ICE, but only when the most serious offenders are about to leave their custody. And they say they will not detain those people on ICE's behalf.
For that group of people, the county should notify ICE when they're being released so that those individuals don't then go back into communities in our county and further victimize future people.
We will not hold people a minute longer than their normally scheduled release date. That we're very, very firm with.
The committee, which included law enforcement officials as well as immigration advocates, will now pass a report on to the Board of Supervisors. But there was no recommended course of action.
Any step that the board takes, any step that I vote for, is going to have to be measured with both making sure that we're creating the safest environment we can for people who live and work and play in our community, and doing it in a way that respects the rule of law.
And I think it's time, you know, we really kind of celebrate these because they're few and far between when you work in news. But let's celebrate a good story. This is out of California. And we've seen a similar story here on Fox 10 News, but we need more of them. Sons of Anarchy, but with a happy ending. Bikers escort a bullied boy. This is out of California, and hopefully this will be a sweet story.
We all know how stressful school can be, and when you throw a bully into the mix, it can be downright terrifying. Well, after a 12-year-old boy was picked on here at this school, a Christian motorcycle club stepped in to let him know he was not alone.
Put the helmet on him and had a big grin on his face. Actually his grin was so big I couldn't get the strap around his neck. So.
Sons of Thunder Motorcycle Club member Ken French knows all about helping others. He was a firefighter, but French says escorting 12-year-old Alex on the back of his bike was a moment he will never forget.
And he got on and he had a hold of me, and it was a death grip for a while. Then he kind of eased up on it and stuff, but I knew that this probably was the highlight of his year, if not his life.
Alex's grandmother's a friend of mine, and she put out a post that Alex had been beat up and he didn't want to return to school. So I contacted her and asked her if he would return to school if he got to ride a bike, if he got to be escorted back to school by some bikers.
After Alex agreed, Rhonda got busy. She organized members of the St. Your Mama's Church family in Merced, the Sons of Thunder Motorcycle Club, and Prayer Warriors, and gave Alex an escort to school.
All the kids were cheering and running over to the fence as he was coming by. And we weren't there to be bullying back. We weren't there to intimidate. We were there for one child. We were there to say, Alex, we love you, we support you.
The other thing is getting together and all of us getting a prayer circle around him and praying for him. And that's what it needs to be done. Kids like this and all the kids need to be lifted up. That's what we're all about. God's good all the time.
He was happy going into school today, and that's all that mattered. It's one kid. We got to start there.
Alex's relatives say that they are thankful to the Christian organization for their time and support. In Merced, Eric Rosales, KMPH Fox 26 News.
It makes you wish that you had a team around you that would have been protective over you, because not everybody does. That's special. Let's take a look at, I'm pulling some of Samia's stories from earlier too, now that we are we're closing in on the 9 p.m., which means Tori Hayden and Carrie Lake are getting ready to jump on our 9 p.m. TV broadcast. Wow. It looks like here is some additional coverage of the shooting out of Illinois.
So this morning at approximately 7:52, preliminary investigation indicates Fox Lake Police Lieutenant Joseph Glenowitz had encountered 3 suspicious subjects. He advised his radio communication that he was out with 3 suspicious subjects, 2 male whites and 1 male black. Shortly thereafter, Lieutenant Glenowitz informed communications he was in a foot pursuit. His communications then lost contact with him. When our first responding backup units arrived at the scene, they located Lieutenant Glenowitz injured with a gunshot wound. A massive as well. We're asking residents in the Fox Lake area to please be on the alert if they see anything suspicious, to dial 911 immediately. Anything out of the ordinary, anything they're not used to seeing in their subdivisions. No tip is too small, and we're asking for the community's help on locating anything suspicious. At this time, I'm going to turn.
Tonight, not only did Fox Lake lose a family member, I lost a very dear friend. Lieutenant Joe Glenowitz was a 30-year veteran, a decorated police officer, a family man, and a dear friend to the entire village of Fox Lake. The response today by law enforcement from local, state, and federal agencies has been remarkable. We would like to thank each agency and each officer who is out there right now assisting our efforts. Understandably, our community is having a very difficult time. In the coming days will be even more difficult as we remember him as a police officer, a father, and a member of our community. G.I. Joe was the father of 4 boys, a decorated police officer and an asset to our community. Many residents in here knew him as G.I. Joe, and we remember him as someone deeply committed to Fox Lake, to the profession, and his fellow officers. Going forward, our focus is in 3 areas. The first is to mourn the death of Lieutenant Joe Glenowitz. His commitment to the people of this community has been unmatched and will be dearly missed. The second is to ensure the people of Fox Lake are safe as this investigation continues. We've been coordinating efforts with the schools, increasing our police presence at all our facilities, and making sure parents are notified about the status of their schools. The minute we learned about this incident, we immediately put our schools on.
Looks like this is in the package, but these are SWAT teams that are near Chicago and at Fox Lake, looking for these 3 suspects that they believe shot and killed this police officer who they referred to as G.I. Joe. Very loved in the community, loved his job, loved his family. And these are some aerials of the SWAT team that we have over Fox Lake. And in a similar story, we have these updates out of Texas in regards to the deputy that was shot and killed in Texas at point blank range while he was getting gas for his vehicle.
Shannon J. Miles, who has a lengthy criminal history, appeared in court once again. This time he faces a capital murder charge for the death of Darren Goforth, a 10-year veteran of the Harris County Sheriff's Office in Houston, Texas. Goforth was shot several times from behind on Friday night while pumping gas. After the hearing, prosecutors recounted the gruesome attack.
He runs up behind Deputy Goforth and puts a gun to the back of his head and shoots. Deputy Goforth hits the ground, and then he continues to unload his gun, shooting repeatedly into the back of Deputy Goforth.
Police have not established a motive for Goforth's death, only suggesting the officer was attacked because he was wearing his uniform. Sheriff Ron Hickman claims the attack may be the result of tensions over the treatment of African Americans by police.
We've heard Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. Well, cops' lives matter too.
And that sentiment has folks across the nation talking.
You come after a police officer and you assassinate him merely because of the uniform he wears and the badge he wears. That's an attack on our society, and it's unconscionable.
Meantime, many are mourning Goforth's death in this community. On Sunday, hundreds gathered at the gas station where he died to honor the slain officer.
They're not here to hurt anybody. They're here to help. And we need to show them more appreciation.
Deputy Goforth is survived by his wife and 2 young children. His funeral is scheduled for Friday. Outside the courthouse in Houston, Casey Stiegel, Fox News.
Flowers and balloons and messages of support. Hundreds of people came out to give hugs and handshakes that will never be forgotten.
It means that the community has come together along with law enforcement. It means the people care about their officers as well as the officers caring about the people. that we're going to work together and make things better here in this community.
Deputy Darren Goforth had officer friends here, of course, but also family friends.
Whenever we were little, he used to come over, and I'd always try to get him to handcuff me because I just thought the handcuffs were cool when I was little. And then we'd be staying home alone, and he'd come check on us, and when we were out of town, he'd make sure our house was okay.
I think it's very tragic this had to happen, and he's a really good guy, really good officer. And I know there's people in the world that think that all cops are bad. It's not true. There's always going to be bad apples in the bunch, but he wasn't one of those.
The turnout surprised even the organizers of the vigil, but clearly every individual wanted to make a statement.
I mean, I know with everything that's going around the world, around here in the United States with, the citizens and police officers, but you can't take the law into your own hand and do something like that to someone, that's heartbreaking.
From 1933 to 2015, how we view these historical statues has evolved over the years, to the point where 2 of them were removed from the University of Texas campus on Sunday.
This statue represents a time that should not be celebrated. The Civil War is something that happened in our history that is an awful thing, and it should be remembered, but not in a way that honors some of the participants.
The Jefferson Davis statue will be relocated to the Briscoe Center for American History. There, it will be put into context within its permanent display that is set to open to the public within the next 18 months. To preserve symmetry of the main mall, the statue of President Woodrow Wilson will be relocated to an unknown exterior location on campus. But uprooting these statues isn't an easy task.
It's always lengthy and difficult because a lot of the historical facts, especially this one being so old, a lot of the documentation is gone or forgotten or misplaced.
Confederate symbols have been a point of contention for many years, but even more so following the shooting in Charleston. UT President Gregory Fenves made the removal decision after having a task force present him with recommendations. Something not everyone agreed with. The sons of Confederate veterans attempted to stop the university from moving the statues.
Because I don't consider this the end of our case. I consider this the beginning of a process to put Jefferson Davis and hopefully Woodrow Wilson right back where they are.
They were at the statue removal on Sunday, sparking some heated debate.
That is cultural desecration.
I said that is beauty.
It's gouging the eyes out of the Mona Lisa. It's cutting the nose off of Whistler's mother.
You know the battle, and we are really fighting against ISIS, and this is not the same thing.
This is exactly the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. It's exactly.
These statues mean something different to different people. That's why some students think this is somewhat of a middle ground.
It is important to preserve history, and that's why I'm glad it's being moved and not necessarily destroyed. But at the same time, you have to balance that preservation of history with public spaces where people need to be comfortable in today's modern age.
Out of respect to our heritage, the university will leave the other 4 statues where they stand.
Not guilty.
Emotion seemingly alternating between relief and disbelief. 19-year-old Owen Labrie listening to the jury's verdict in his rape trial.
Guilty or not guilty? Guilty.
The case involving 2 teenagers at one of America's most prestigious prep schools. A 15-year-old girl accusing a then 18-year-old Labrie of rape. He said the sex was consensual, that it was part of a tradition at the school called the Senior Salute. A spokesperson for the victim's family says there's no joy in the verdict.
As our daughter can never get back what she has lost, nor can St. Paul's School ever become our community again. We still feel betrayed by St. Paul's schools as they allowed and fostered a toxic culture and left our daughter and several other students at risk of sexual violence.
Labrie, who was Harvard-bound when he was accused of rape, was acquitted of the most serious charges, but he still could face more than a decade behind bars.
As a result of this trial, is one teenager was found guilty of having consensual sex with another teenager.
Labrie will be sentenced on October 29th. In addition to potential jail time, Labrie will also have to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life. Robert Gray.
This is a story involving a black lab, a state trooper, and an emergency veterinarian here in St. Cloud. A combination of events and elements here that probably saved that dog's life, significantly changed the life of his owner.
Hey there, bud.
You say hi?
You look pretty good. Hey.
This is your savior.
It's a funny thing how sometimes things just come together.
You're looking pretty good.
Yeah.
This is the first time that these two men and this dog have seen each other since their fates crossed in mid-July when Ghost was hit by a car near Malacca.
He yelped real loud, and then blood was everywhere, and I picked him up, and my knees buckled, and I fell into the grass.
Waylon Vaughn says he was suicidal when he adopted Ghost. The dog had quickly become his rock.
I thought he needed me, you know what I mean? And I just needed him.
Desperate when he found the local vet clinic closed, he called 911, and Trooper Jason Groh responded, expecting a human.
The call was a little confusing because it came out that it might be a person.
Yeah, my best friend. I said my best friend's dying.
Trooper Groh spent a couple years in Iraq. He worked aero medical evacuation. He spent weekends working the ER at the hospital in Baghdad's Green Zone, where he saw a lot of wounds to arms and legs.
And this is one of those things that just went on my thigh with my flight suit.
And to this day in his State Patrol medical kit, the highly adjustable tourniquets he'd used in Iraq to stop battlefield bleeding.
And with this, you could, since it's Velcro, you could wrap it as many times as you needed to get it to the size that was appropriate for a dog.
Come here, bud.
That kept Ghost from bleeding out on the ride to the affiliated emergency vet in St. Cloud.
He had a cut from probably the upper part of his elbow all the way down over the top of his wrist area here.
Would he have made it?
Well, you could speculate, but the tourniquet definitely helped his chances.
The dog that saved Waylon now saved by a trooper, and that's kind of saved Waylon again. A felon and a drug user, he says he's been clean ever since.
This day, it didn't only it changed my heart. Like, it delivered me from that lifestyle. Like,
I'm so glad.
And that's the truth.
And is a souvenir of their fateful crossing here. Today, the trooper gave Waylon that battlefield-used tourniquet that he also used on Ghost. A souvenir of how their paths crossed. In St. Cloud, Rob Olson, Fox 9.
With a simple salute began a bucket list journey. Cancer has consumed much of Mike Cody's body. Doctors have given him just 3 more years to live.
When I was on the operating table and you come out, you just hope you can have normal life again. Just to walk and breathe. To be able to do this is beyond, I could cry.
Since Cody's diagnosis, he's undergone 27 chemo cycles, brain surgery to remove 3 tumors, and 41 radiation treatments. All of that, he says, was worth it for this. A ride on the B-17 Yankee Lady at this weekend's Thunder over Michigan Air Show.
It's literally a living history book. It was built 1945, too late to serve in the war. It's one of 9 aircraft flying in the world. We think it's the best one.
The World War II bomber made 5 special flights on Sunday. It's among 3 planes owned and operated by the Yankee Air Museum that people can pay to ride on. For Cody, an Army veteran who has loved planes for as long as he can remember, this is the ride of his life that briefly made his everyday pain go away.
But I look at these planes and look at them as soldiers. When they fly, they're so majestic, they're heroes to me. I'm so humbled and so appreciative to be a part of this. It's just amazing to me. And to fly in one, it's just amazing.
Cody really is such an inspiration with a positive outlook and attitude. He tells me the cancer diagnosis has made him a better person. And like the song, he is living like he is dying and enjoying every minute of it. Reporting from the Thunder over Michigan Air Show, Robin Murdoch, Fox 2 News.
And as we get closer to the 9 o'clock hour, I see that Carrie Lake and Troy Hayden are miking up, gearing up for that 9 p.m. broadcast. If you're local, you can turn on Channel 10 and watch our local television news broadcast. If you're not local, you can watch it nationally on fox10phoenix.com. You should download our app. It's probably the best way for you to stream our videos. It's free, and you should like us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook. I do, however, I feel obligated after last night's absolute chaos in regards to whether to play our evening forecast for you, starring Dave Muncy, at least one more time. But if you are local, know that you should be turning on Channel 10 because we are getting ready for our 9 o'clock broadcast. You need to watch us between 9 and 10:30 this evening so you can enjoy Carrie and Troy. But let's take a look at Dave Muncy and see what he has to say about the weather.
Your exclusive AccuWeather forecast with Dave Muncy on Fox 10 News.
Well, that was pretty exciting. Take a look at the city, boy, after last night. Clean the air out, probably clean the streets up a little bit too, if you don't think about all of the debris left over from the trees and the poles. We have 97 degrees right now. We've got a few clouds out there. There's no wind. 59 degrees on the dew point, 29%. On the humidity, temperatures right now 99 at Fountain Hills, 92 at Cave Creek. We have 97 in Ahwatukee, 100 still up in Glendale. That low pressure system still ushering in a little bit of moisture. We find most of it on the east side. Take a look there. That's some of the numbers we had from last night. Look at that, 1.5 inches at 4th Avenue and Jefferson Street. We had 1 in 30 at Thomas and 32nd, 1 in 30 at Perry Park. Papago Park had about the same, and then 4th Avenue and Van Buren 1 in 26th, and then 122 at the 202 and the 143. And yeah, we do have a little bit of moisture kind of hanging around. Nothing in the city at this time. Some stuff south of us here, and a little bit down there in that southeastern corner. Got some kind of traveling across the north. We did have a few advisories for flooding in that area, but those have expired, and a couple of good storms near St. John's and Show Low popping up through the day and through the night tonight. We'll see a few of those. We have a slight chance of a storm. 99 degrees for the high today. 116 is the record. 96 in Scottsdale, 100 in Glendale, 99 in Mason, 99 out at Luke. And as you can see here, other numbers from around the state, 76 at Flagstaff. We had 109 degrees at Gila Bend, 104 in Yuma, 106 at Lake Havasu, 88 at Payson, 92 at Globe today. Hey, did you know? Second warmest August ever. Average August high was 104.4 degrees. The 2015 average high for August was 107.7. The hottest day in August was a record. It was the 14th. It was 117. And then the average August 2015 low was 85.8. The average low for August is 82.7. So it was a warm August, and then a stormy one too. Boy, did we end up with a good storm. 104 to 102 on the normal line. As you can see, we start out below it, we work our way up to it, and a little bit above it over the next 10-day period. Take a look at your day. 99 on the high, 79 on the low, 104 and 81. Normal high and low. Record high 116, record low at 63. Looking across the country, well, once again, we get some pretty good moisture, as you can see from what is left of Tropical Storm Erica, tropical depression, now a low pressure system. Also, we have another low pressure system in the Gulf that has been causing some problems. And as we run down and take a look at both of them, you can see this one getting close to New Orleans, and this, of course, remnants of the tropical depression near Tallahassee. And then let's take also a look out here in the Pacific at Jimena, as Jimena gets closer and closer to the Hawaiian Islands. If you're planning a trip, this is Ignacio up here, kind of falling apart a little bit. Still a little bit of a threat, but way north of the islands. Don't think the same thing is going to happen here. There was a little bit of shear on this thing earlier, but it still has winds of 121 miles an hour. They were 142 yesterday afternoon. So if you are planning a trip to the islands, make sure you keep track of this particular hurricane. As we look at these numbers, 92 in New Orleans, 94 in Memphis, 95 in Washington, D.C., in Detroit 90, 86 in Minneapolis, 90 in Omaha, 94 in Wichita, 90 in Denver, 89 in Bismarck. Folks, It's the 1st of September. What's going on here? 92 at Salt Lake City, 67 in Seattle. Well, there's a number where it should be. As far as we are concerned, overnight and tomorrow morning, 49 at the Grand Canyon, 69 at Globe, 82 at Gila Bend. We'll see another low 80-degree temperature at Yuma for tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, 105 at Yuma, 84 up at Prescott. We'll be looking at 78 at Show Low, 74 at Flagstaff, and 104 in Casa Grande. Take a look at your forecast for the night here. There is a slight chance of rain, 85 degrees, 103 degrees for tomorrow, with a little chance of rain on the day tomorrow as well. In fact, you can see through the period, we're going to have a slight chance of rain, a better chance on Thursday, and then backing off a little bit on Friday. How do you like those temperatures? A couple of upper 90-degree temperatures, but don't get used to it. Yep, we're going back to the big stuff again. In fact, we'll be back to 105 by next week. Watch your kids around water.
And we're getting these interesting live shots in from Nicole. Let me show you really quick.
This is the huge pine tree that toppled over right now. I'm standing at the base. Okay, and the audio's better?
That's Nick doing a mic check. She's about to go live on our 9 o'clock. She looks absolutely beautiful, doesn't she? Of course, they're like, oh, we're gonna move the camera.
I don't know. He was trying to turn off channel 2, the gnats.
Oops. So that was fun. Little behind the scenes there for you. It is 9 o'clock though, so you're gonna want to turn on channel 10 if you are local. If you're not local, go to fox10phoenix.com and you can watch our local television news broadcast straight from the website, or you can download our app and watch it on your phone. And honestly, the app is probably the best place to stream your Fox 10 videos. You can download the app for free. You should follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook, where we have up-to-the-minute news coverage. And I hope you tune into our 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock broadcast tonight. John Hook's out, so you're going to be able to enjoy Troy Hayden along with Carrie Lake 9 to 10, and then 10 to 10:30 you can enjoy Troy Hook riding solo. He's going to be on there though with Jude LaCava, Dave Muncie, and with weather. We've got continuous monsoon cleanup coverage. So that is what you're going to see if you turn on our 9 o'clock broadcast tonight. I appreciate you spending your evening with me, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. It's hump day. It's the middle of the week, which means we only have 3 days to go until it's Friday. So there's a lot to look forward to. So thank you so much for spending your Tuesday evening with me, and I will see you tomorrow.